Ah. Ah, my head. Ah. Limbus Company. Limbus Company. Sign it on Twitter and Blue Sky too, why not? Тянуть девушек за звериные уши. Согласен. Все так. Все будем. Ну, то есть я надеюсь, что будем. Я вообще на самом деле не знаю, что будет. Идеальный уровень для ивента. По-моему, очень классно. Началось. So it begins. Окей. Ура, Икона, ура, Сергей, ура, Светлана. Дайте мне такое, пожалуйста, это самое, таблеточку выпить от головы. Что-то мне херово. Таблеточка. Стрим только начался, мы уже таблетки пьем, короче. У нее сморила простудой. У Кони голова болит что-то к вечеру. Не знаю. Это давление. Давление у меня высокое. Наверное. Я не знаю, я не мерил. Ну это погодное, короче. У меня от погоды херачит сильно. Что-то в погоде поменялось. Окей. It is time for Arknights Limbus Company evento. Limbus Company Arknights evento stato. Stages. Clearing via hard difficulty stages are gonna clear. Yeah, of course we're going hard. I'm going hard. Мне герой тут простуды. Ох ты ж, блин. Ну, блин, а чё ты за бацилла такая? На учебу ходишь? Recharge my enkephalin. Oh, I can only deploy 4 people. I mean, I guess this is okay. ГГ этих игр стоят с видом ебать, я херню захуярил, факт. А если не забыла высморкаться перед школой, и чё? Эй, Субаву! I was exploring a lobotomy corporation branch when my consciousness sinks into the depths. The sense of cognition itself, a concept without form, floats into the shadow of an ever-widening river, swept up in its currents to nowhere. When we ran into an abnormality. But Soth told us that Hong Yuan's lobotomy corp branch should be free of any abnormalities. The abnormality, which had appeared out of nowhere, was more otherworldly than any we'd encountered so far in our journey, and deep blue. It was fathomlessly blue, and seemed to have a pole that endlessly drew us into its help. Just as I was about to recall this abnormality, a myriad of sceneries and a flood of incalculable thoughts crashed into my mind like wild waves before ebbing away from its shores. I was already lost and adrift somewhere within my own consciousness when I realized this. Just how long am I going to be adrift? The sensation of my own consciousness floating away is quite the unfamiliar one. I floated about in that strange state for a minute. An unfamiliar voice seizes my aimlessly drifting consciousness. Are you Dante? The fog of my vision clears as the voice breaks through the waves, and a concerned expression comes into view. Yes, I am. Ah, what a relief! Gregor, I think Dante has come too. So who are... I was about to ask further questions to the stranger with particularly long animal-like ears, but... I felt the drowsiness coarsening back with the terrifying memories of the dream, rendering me unable to speak. Гладить кролика. Гладить кролика. Кстати, я тут получил... Вы уже... Кто-то уже тянул, короче, в чате? Тянул новые айдишки? Кто что получил? Я 2 из 3 получил новые эго. Не айдишки, а эго имел в виду. After an indeterminate amount of time had passed, I barely managed to wake myself from slumber to get a grasp of my surroundings, only to find myself surrounded by more unfamiliarities. There was that stranger from earlier, sitting atop a rock and silently taking in the sights, a young girl who probably saved my life. Wait, so were those animal ears after all? Okay, that's not important right now. I have to prioritize figuring out just where in the world I ended up in. И гладить кролика. Что-то мне чат перестал обновляться, блин. Приложуха вот эта, которую я чат собираю, она, блин, отвратительно стала работать. С Твича теперь перестала собирать. То с Ютуба все не работало, а теперь с Твичом. Я получил все из баннера за 60 круток, поздравляю. Кролик настолько поёбан жизнью, что не удивляет даже говорящий циферблат в костюме. Bnu Years? Yes, Bnu Years. This is a Arknights character. W Corp Don Quixote? Nice. So we're standing by the Iberian coastline. How are you feeling? A little out of it, but I'm okay otherwise. Iberia, huh? Yes, we're in Iberia. Well, given that we're next to an ocean, maybe I drifted all the way to U-Corp's Great Lake? Iberia was an unfamiliar name, but that was all I had to go on, given that the city was still full of more unknowns than knowns to me. I radioed your colleagues when you briefly woke up earlier. They'll be here any minute. I see. Wait, my colleagues? You must have run into the sinners then. The fog of my mind immediately cleared as soon as I realized that the sinners were all nowhere to be seen. Sinners? I think so. I ran into them earlier. They were looking all over the place for someone with a clock on their head. It was a pretty unique description, so I could tell right away that you were the person they were looking for. This clock head does come in handy. Bad manager, bud. Dante! The sinners alone can only lead to shenanigans. True. I'd woken up in an unfamiliar place to an unfamiliar face, and in the midst of all this, a round sense of displacement, the faces that appeared before me were certainly a sight for sore eyes. Gregor, Hong Lu. Miss Rabbit here told me she found you unconscious by the ocean, and phew, I came as fast as I could, and oh boy, I was worried something bad might have happened. Glad to see you're doing fine. Were you lost at sea? I don't know. Well, I do think I'm fine though. I guess not having any way to drink water is finally come in handy. А, точно, он же не может утонуть. He can't drown, he doesn't have a mouth, lol. Антони, подскажете, какой час? You should go get that checked out just in case. Wait, your head's waterproof, right? Gregor takes a moment to steady his breathing, then mutters a casual quip as he lights a cigarette. Well, he doesn't seem that concerned. Maybe we're not actually in that much danger. So what happened? Where are we? Я появился от канала, что Данте учился плавать в детстве. Lol. You remember that lobotomy corp branch Shichin told us about? Yeah. Yeah, we ran into a new abnormality and got sucked into it before we even had the chance to do anything. Man, I really thought that was it for us, especially with you getting sucked in there too, Manager Bud. But when we came to, despite waking up with our faces down in some ditch, we were all fine without a scratch, though there was quite the mess when we realized that you'd gone missing. А там-то всегда 12 часов дня. Но без 10. Без 10 12. We wanted to search for you immediately. Did you all just pass out? Apparently they were fighting an abnormality and they got all sucked into it. But it took a while before we got a better bearing of where we were. So we're not at U-Corp's Great Lake? Some of us considered that to be a distinct possibility, but it's unlikely. Ishmael was really certain that we were not in District 21. She did concede that we might be in an unknown area within the Great Lake at the outskirts, but that doesn't seem likely either, given what the rabbit-eared lady there said. Dante sucked. Hey, hello, Supreme Ramen. They're in Scotland? No, they're in Iberia. The outskirts region of the Great Lake? I met all kinds of people from all over Terra, but I've never met anyone who referred to the Iberian Sea that way. Terra? Iberia? As I found myself puzzled by these unfamiliar terms, a very obvious question suddenly struck me. Speaking of which, who are you? Huh? Really? Fellas haven't introduced yourselves to each other yet? Just that it's all just a lot to take in. It's understandable. You did just wake up from a pretty harrowing experience. She is... actually, would you like to do the honors yourself? Which game today? It's Limbus Company. Limbus Company! It's a game I play and stream rather often, actually. I'm Amiya, the leader of Rhodes Island. Please just call me Amiya. I'm Dante, manager at Limbus Company. I know I'm late, but thanks for saving my bacon. Well, speaking of bacon, I ate some bacon today. It was nice. Акони may be a Limbus Company player. А сложно тебе ли следить за одновременно русским и английским чатом? Вообще ни разу. Очень легко. Scotland, чё? Scotland! Подожди секунду. Scotland forever! Something like that. You didn't save Dante some bacon? Yeah, true. Dante, убери от меня свою стрелку, Dante. It seems this is Rodeo Island. It seems this is Rodeo Island. It's a pretty big corporation, but... Gregor trails off ominously and scratches his head before continuing with some mild trepidation. This young lady with the rabbit ears doesn't know what the head is at all. As far as I know, there aren't any organizations in Terra with the same characteristics as the one Mr. Gregor explained. At least not with a name like the Head. Also, sorry, it's Rhodes Island, not Rodeo. Арон сбила одного из грешников. Исекай! Sorry, Gregor's kind of bad with names. So what you're saying is that we're not in the city anymore? It'd be weird for any higher up at these huge corporations to know less about the Head than we do, let alone be completely clueless about it. Компактный кролик. Well, maybe we've stumbled into a previously undiscovered zone on the outskirts or the ruins. Probably. Or maybe we've really found ourselves in a completely different world. If their conjecture is correct, we're in way bigger trouble than I thought. This wasn't like the time we accidentally stranded ourselves in the outskirts via a door in the corridor. Amiya stared at me with some concern as though she felt my distress. I think I can draw a connection to something else that's happening here. Really? Yes,
Recently, anomalous signs and events have been occurring in Iberia ever since a mysterious dimensional door appeared at sea. And it's been said that this dimensional door is connected to something very, very distant, to something that we've never observed before. So, it seems reasonable to theorize that the dimensional door is how we managed to cross over to this world. I really would have appreciated Faust's input. Вообще, кролик, она как бы по росту не намного выше Грегора, не намного ниже Грегора. Мне срочно нужна коробка. Never seen Dante talk this much. Yeah, he kind of doesn't usually say that many words. Where'd all the other sinners go anyway? Ну, смотри, типа, ну вот, типа, башка Ами, она где-то здесь, а Грегор, вот он, как бы, не намного выше. A bit late on the uptake to be gawking around while the other sinners now, don't you think? They're at the settlement near here, where they're all helping out with various odds and ends of the village, while taking turns searching for Dante, of course.
You know, I never thought about how difficult it would be for us to search for someone when we're like fish out of water, Man, barely got even a wink of sleep since yesterday.
Грегор, Ами никогда не стану коровушка. Fuck. Everyone's got to be really tired then. So it's just you two out here for now?
No, Ishmael and Nisang are the other half of the search party. They just happen to be the last group in the rotation. They must be searching elsewhere to find you, Manager Bud.
Oh, we got the news early thanks to Amiya's comms gear, but the other team didn't.
Yeah, we got lucky. The other team, well, wouldn't have any way to get in touch with them, so they'll probably continue their search until their shift is done.
Вроде для Амии буквально. Почему? Просто что она большая? Oh, are we talking about the village you mentioned earlier?
Uh-huh. Right, you've not been there yet, huh? Guess it's a bit of off the beaten path.
Well, we're going to have to rendezvous with the other citizens anyway, so let's head to the village for now. Something seemed to pique Amiya's interest as she fell into contemplative silence before carefully speaking up. I would like to accompany you there.
Sure, I don't see why not. You helped us find Manager Bud, and more importantly, you seem to know a lot more about this place than we do.
I don't actually know Iberia that well either, but I should be able to be of some help. They've closed their borders and have practically locked out any foreign influences from affecting them, but I did get a briefing before the mission.
Company? Some kind of Limbus company? Послезавтра я наконец-то еду к стоматологу, а что случилось? Напомни, что у тебя со стоматологом-то?
Кексы сделать.
Ну, это прям ты добро относишься к своему стоматологу. Closed borders, huh? And how did you get in, Miss Amiya?
We followed Dr. Kaltzit's directions and illegally crossed the country border. Illegally? Oh, does that mean you crossed the border without obtaining any permission, Anya? We had to cross the border somehow in order to investigate how and why the dimensional door came to be.
Зуб долечиваешь или лечу? Понятно. Is it normal for pharmaceutical companies to be doing that? Large pharmaceutical companies often dispatch their agents for missions.
Yes, Rhodes Island is, in its essence, a pharmaceutical company researching treatments for people infected with oropathy. But we also work to prevent and assist in the management of various situations that can occur in high-risk areas.
Да блин, эта штука вообще перестала нормально регать сообщения, как с Твича, так с Ютуба. Я хрен его знает, что делать. Я буду между стримами искать что-то новое, чтобы собирать сообщения в чате. High-risk areas, huh? Quarantine Island? Yeah, it's a pharmaceutical company with, like, special agents. Wait, what about your companions? I thought you came all the way here on your own.
That's, we were forced to split up due to certain forces that were in pursuit. Wait, stop! Amiya's ears twitched and as she came to a stop and began scanning the surrounding area. Then, there! As we stood around confused, Amiya, noticing something, pointed toward the seashore hidden behind the seashore hidden behind large and cragged rock formations. What are we supposed to... Huh? There, we saw someone wielding a lengthy greatsword, bickering with two familiar faces. Again, move. You're in the way. You needn't worry as you do. We have had ample experience battling monsters who are much like them. Listen, I'm not worried. It's... Come on, better to have 3 fighters than 1, right? Besides, you're the first person we ran into here, so we've got a lot of questions to ask. Yisang, Ishmael! Dante, you are unharmed. And here I was, getting ready for a 3-days-long search. What a relief. We were all really worried that we might never be able to find you. We managed to find him thanks to help from Miss Amia here. Amia? Are you two acquainted? Not a good time for a reunion. It can wait until after we take out the sea monsters. Scotty, are those organisms the Seaborns Dr. Kaltzit mentioned?
Да, блин, сообщения с YouTube просто не летят никуда.
They're sea terrors, to be specific. The less sophisticated ones among them. And they're probably here for me. Sea terrors?
Я только сейчас понял, что Ами имеет такие же длинные уши, как и Мияби. А кто такой Мияби?
I hear the sticky noise of something viscous slithering against the rocks. When I turn to face the origin of the unsettling noise, I smell the heavy, wet scent of brine. At the end of my gaze awaits strange monsters, unlike distortions, unlike abnormalities, unlike anything I'd ever seen. It is as though the sea itself is encroaching on the land.
Sea terrorists? Ами можно прикормить дынями? А почему именно дынями? Это тоже какой-то эвфемизм? Лучше пойти спать сейчас или потом? Но если ты хочешь спать, то сейчас. А если не хочешь спать, то потом.
I was almost certain we burned at the Great Lake, but I'm not so sure anymore. Our experiences with the thick scent of brine at the Great Lake must have put her in a wary mood, as Ishmael seemed to be a lot more apprehensive about these monsters than anyone else.
Не хочу, но я замерзла. Так это, окутайся в одеялко, попей чаю и пока еще не спи. Пригреешься, захочется спать. Мияби — это из Zenless Zone Zero персонаж. А, это понятно почему. Я же в это не играю. Йоу, хей, Эдж.
Ты не любишь чай?
Ну как так?
You think those creatures could be whales or mermaids? I don't know. The Great Lake and the outskirts are full of unexplored mysteries, after all. Dante, what do your senses say? It's unclear. I'd say the closest comparison I could make is with the whales, but even that's not conclusive. More enemies on the horizon. We should prepare for battle. Doesn't seem like we can talk things out with them, though. So let's take them out.
Я больше по какао. Ну, какао тоже неплохо, но чай же надо уважать. Doing good? I mean, I'm doing alright. I'm a bit tired, but it's fine. I'm here to play some Limbus Company. I mean, I could probably just win rate these. Yeah. Limbus Company.
The music's kind of good, though.
It's time to Limbus. All over them. What kind of Limbus, you ask? Limbus Company. Какой неважный вопрос. Если из русалки сделать паштет, он будет рыбный или мясной? И, конечно, он будет рыбный. Русалки — это рыбы. Хотя, может, это зависит от половины, наверное. Не против, если кину какую фотку? Ну, главное, чтобы она была приличная, а так, да, можно кидать. В Дискорде можно кидать, например.
Limbus Company. Готово. А, а закинь ее прям, ты можешь закинуть ее прям в мемес? А, ты же закинула, молодец. Имба. Надо тегнуть любителей Arknights. All remaining enemies have retreated to the sea. Good work, everyone. Phew, didn't think I'd have to deal with anything remotely like this outside the Great Lake.
You can say that again. It would have taken us the whole day if that Scotty character didn't occupy the other half, while Miss Rabbit helped us from a distance.
As we were catching our breath after the battle, I heard a brief hum. When I turned to look at its source, I saw Scotty glaring at me with palpable alarm. Strange people who transform. And the head of Clock?
I guess they're both technically true.
Well, it's nothing more than a theory at this point. I think they have a lot to do with the dimensional door we're supposed to be investigating. Nice to meet you, I guess? I only hear a ticking clock. Oh, that's because only us sinners can hear Dante's voice. Huh?
What's up?
No, I'm just wondering how Miss Ami can seemingly understand Dante. Скади, не холодно с такими ляхами ходить?
Ну, блин, там... Это эстетический выбор.
Мы еще Ишмаэль в такой наряд нарядим.
Oh?
What's going on here? Yeah, it completely flew over my head that I didn't even question how weird this is. Their voice sounds like a ticking clock to me too, but I don't know, it's almost like I can sense what they're trying to say, what kind of emotion they're trying to convey. Explanation reminded me of the blue boy in Sinclair's past, but I didn't quite feel the uncanny sensation from Amia that I felt from them. So she can read me kind of like how Virgilius can, I guess? Well, I don't think it's a bad thing. That's true. It's been a bit of a hassle to always need Faust or Honglu to translate for you, Dante. I'd like to know exactly how she can understand Dante, but I don't think we've got the luxury of time to sit down and figure this out. Who knew his ears could hear clock ticking into words? Yeah.
Sounds like a plan. Not like we know anywhere else to go, right? Oh, and Miss Rabbit here will be tagging along too.
She said she'd help us find our way back. I'm glad to be working with you two also, Miss Ishmael, Mr. Honglu. Took the words right out of my mouth. You've already helped us plenty, and you clearly know a lot more about this place than we do. The journey is long. Perhaps embarking on it ere the sun's fall would be wise. Так, ну, посмотреть, если на твое сообщение, Сергей, ну, не знаю. Как будто бы туда, в принципе, можно было бы трусы вместить. Так что мы не узнаем. How long's the journey?
No idea. It's not like we have a clock with us. I do know that it's not very far, though. We just need to walk along the coastline for a bit.
Astriak Gregor. Scotty quietly points in my direction. Oh, Dante can't tell us the time because they're not on time. Then why the clock head? I didn't exactly choose to get myself a clock-shaped head. У русского вики инфа о Лимбусе будет выглядеть очень сырой. Ну так это же комьюнити должно заниматься. Оно, я так скажу, и у Лимбуса тоже такая себе, честно говоря, инфа. I looked away from Scotty's inquisitive eyes, which were quite solidly fixed on my head. The coasts of Iberia are hardly good places for people to live. Those things can go anywhere in this world, but they thrive at places that meet the ocean. So how did people manage to build a village at a place like this? Clock-shaved head cannot tell the time. Yeah, like at the very least, if you had your head replaced with a clock, you would like ask for it to be able to tell the time. But I guess Dante didn't ask for it. The monsters are called Seaborns or Sea Terrors, yes. While it is true that they posed certain difficulties, they were hardly the kind of monsters with the strength to bring scourge and drive out the local populace. Don't judge them based on that brief skirmish.
He's just telling us to be on our guard, right?
Scotty can be a bit curt, but she's not a bad person.
I don't think she said anything wrong. Nothing rules out the existence of stronger variants of these creatures being out there. Scotty's concern only served to fan my curiosity, but something about her expression communicated that I probably shouldn't pry, so I quietly quickened my pace as we walked to the village. Fighting sea monsters. Is this Canto 5 all over again? Oh my god, I got a lot of currency. Also the victory music. I think this is from Arknights. I'm not sure though. Ты можешь почти полностью закрыть плащ Грега. Я тоже, кстати, обратил внимание. Я еще такой думаю, почему у плаща Грега уши? Oh, guys, it's a reading note. Get ready for some reading. Reading node. This hardly looks like a village. It's more like the ruins of one, isn't it? Doesn't seem like they've done any proper upkeep to the place. Not in a while, at least. We're really here, living together. The strange buildings tell the stories of former prosperity from a bygone era. Our steps leave no footprints on the wet, muddy ground. On it, I see a rotting sign marked with the name Faro Muerto. Everywhere I look in this village, I see evidence of long, silent abandonment. We don't see these kinds of abandoned-looking ruins often in the city either. Well, yeah. Это будет на тест. There's always someone or something out there waiting to capitalize on that free real estate, be it a syndicate or a corporation, and fix it up. Better than this, at least. Dante only being able to speak to the sinners properly does explain why his speaking moments have the brackets on his text. Yeah, that's kind of the point. Yeah, he can only communicate with the sinners. So where are the sinners? Ah, there's a clearing down there where we were entrapped betwixt a twain of great ships, narrowing winds against our sail. Oh, and that is when young Ishmael boomed her command most resonant. Say no more. I didn't even have to try to search for them. That unmistakably sonorous and familiar voice echoing triumphantly between the empty buildings. That's Don Quixote's voice when she's sharing her adventurous tales. There she was, standing atop a low podium like an actor on stage, regaling a group of people in rags with tales of our adventures like a traveling thespian. Answers, ye gods! Oh, ye gods? Ye dogs, oarsmen! 'Tis the moment I, Ishmael, the first mate of vessel Mephistopheles, shall navigate. Ah! Stop! Hold on. Just what do you think you're doing? Young Ishmael, unhand my mouth, for I was just about to regale them with the most fantastic tale of adventures at the Great Lake. Ah! Manager Esquire! Verily thou hast returned with Manager Esquire safely in tow. What? They found Clockhead? That was initially 100 years in reading jail. That's me. A burning clock for a head? When I was a child, I heard a story about a legendary sarcasm with a flaming head. Why would someone like that visit our humble village? While their exterior may carry elements that inspire fear in some, there is no cause for alarm. Yeah, they might look like that, but they're Dante, our manager, and the rest are... Oh, hello. I'm sorry, who are you two? They're very nice people who helped us find Dante. This is Miss Amia, leader of Rhodes Island. And this is Miss Scotty, their operator. They'll be coming along with us for a little while. Hey, with us? We believe that the dimensional door which we at Rhodes Island are investigating has something to do with why you suddenly woke up here in Iberia. As Amia was bringing the sinners up to speed, the villagers who were staring at us curiously approached us. Did our conversation manage to convince them that we're not a threat? I sure hope so. I thought it was the guy. I did the voice for her. Fuck. Ah, you're friends of our saviors. Saviors? Может, я странный, но они пиздец спокойно реагируют на съебывающий циферблат. Ну, блин. Ребята живут в мире, где там монстры из моря постоянно в ВКД вылезают.
Verily, 'tis quite the grand title, yet that is indeed the word by which we addressed.
To be more precise, by saviors, they're referring only to Faust and Otis. Faust gave me a light nod when we made eye contact, but I could tell that her lips were drawing a very, very subtle smiling arc. So I'm guessing something did happen. We were quite mistrustful upon our initial arrival. What business? Is it an elf? He's an elf! Yoda tries not to tell stories to every strange challenge impossible. What business do outsiders have here? What if they're from the Inquisition? Oh no, what do we do? After all we went through to get here. Calm yourselves, everyone. None of them are carrying what appears to be their scriptures or lamps. Let's first try to see who they are. Man, I don't think they're gonna trust us anytime soon. Фрирен? Так, кстати, кто будет смотреть второй сезон? Фрирен. Second episode. Second season, I mean. Второй сезон. Я сказал эпизод или сезон? Второй сезон. They're all old curmudgeons. Let's STNC, then PTSD. You can't do that, Ryoshu. We can't pillage their storage depot. It looks like they already have it hard enough as it is. I don't think STNC is a good way to get started either. Даже как его там? А, точно, пистолис. Чё? Should we just find help elsewhere? Just look at how thin their arms are. I don't think they're in any shape to help us out. Perhaps we could inquire as to our whereabouts, or we are to decide our lodging. While the landscape is certainly reminiscent of U-Corps, but I don't recall seeing or learning about any place that looks like this. Though I can't say I've been to every corner of U-Corp. STNC, это Рёша намекает, что эльф воняет. Нет, это она говорит slice their necks clean. Типа, давайте им глотки перережем. I ask again, what business do outsiders have here? Their fingers are tightening around the grips of their weapons. Prolonged silence will most likely turn this into a hostile encounter. We can't have that. Hi, we're from Limbus Company. We're fixers of justice. Yeah, that. Fixers of Oi, don't you know when to keep it down? Fixers?
That over there. It's a ship blueprint, isn't it? Are you looking to repair a vessel by any chance? All these construction materials seem to suggest so.
Chief! This does not concern you. It's not something a mere outsider can understand.
Curious, I've never seen an energy source like this before. Have you run the tests to rule out any stability issues?
It seems to power the heat exchanger via some method comparable to the utilization of fusion energy. Have you any thoughts on this, Miss Faust?
The general design structure is somewhat old-fashioned, but there certainly are inspired parts to this design, particularly with the usage of the core energy source. While its stability would need to be further studied, this technology seems to be incredibly energy efficient. Arknights Tower Defense? Да, это Tower Defense. Я как-то играл в нее. Меня не успел зацепить, но может я еще раз попробую на днях. Давайте признаем, Дон Кихот не самый мощный юнит, но и самый высокий моральный урон по противнику. Она очень мощный юнит, ты чё? У нее знаешь сколько имбовых айдишек?
You identified all that merely by glancing at this blueprint?
You must be the village chief then. If so, I have a proposition for you.
In return for assisting in their ship repair, we were promised a ride on their vessel. Miss Faust has theorized that perhaps by going out to sea we may be able to find a way to return to whence we came. Me when I'm a nerd sinner, real. Я хочу La Mancha Land. Да. Самый лучший парк аттракционов.
Does it mean we can find a way back somewhere out there in the sea? Nothing is certain yet, Dante. At this moment we are working based on a hunch.
A hunch? Sensing the implicit omen in her choice of words, I slowly turned around to look at Faust, who nodded solemnly in response. If we're really in a different world, even her Gesellschaft has to be. No issues were encountered in the repair process. Oh, she can task her 4chan about for advice. Oh. Сыр-косичка эта имба. Faust smiles faintly as she looks around, then she pulls me in by my hems. She whispers in a low voice. My connection to Gesellschaft is currently operating at a suboptimal level, Dante. So it's still connected at least? Indeed it is. However, even exchanges of simple information are taking up to dozens of hours by current calculation. Is this a warp train situation because we're in a different dimension? The cause should be identical. We have been connected to an unidentified, unpredictable dimension. However, Faust is aware that the pathway to our original dimension is yet to close this time, unlike the situation back aboard the warp train. So, to get back to where we came from. Indeed, traveling through the pathway is the most feasible solution. From that, he came up with the whole plan to repair the ship and sail out to the sea. Yes, well, I am also a genius after all. What a line. Amiya conjectured that we probably came through a dimensional door of sorts. Looks like that dimensional door might be what Faust is looking for. With high likelihood, yes. At least there's a way back. I find myself calming down a little. Oh, speaking of which, when do you think you can wrap up the repair job? Если бы была толпа Дон Кихот, то бы страдал больше, союзники или враги. Сильно зависит от того, есть ли на них ботинки или нет. Я не шучу. Простите, но я пойду. Ну, хорошего поспать. Хорошего отдыха. Спасибо, что заглянула. As fortune should have it, a majority of the most time-consuming parts of the repair have already been completed by the locals. It shouldn't take us more than a day or two to get its core parts shipshape again, Executive Manager. We'll be staying here a few more days then. How did you manage last night? Well, like I said earlier, we've been keeping ourselves busy looking for you this whole time. We took turns helping with the repairs and resting, but I doubt any of us got a proper night's rest. Still, we weren't cold thanks to the villagers who kept the fire going for us all night. Not to mention how they helped us sit down with that local map they drew us. Oh, also Chief handed us this earlier. What's it for? Ah, looks like a sack to collect water. Give it here. I know how to get that installed. It must be to repay Miss Faust and Miss Otis' efforts at repairing their ship, yet the service they provide us is certainly quite generous, even when taking the transactional nature into account. They're really giving us the best treatment they can, huh? As for food, we managed to fill ourselves with some cookies and bread Rodia keeps in her pockets. Didn't want to eat into their food supply when they're already pretty tight, you know. She carries enough cookies and bread for 12 people. They did offer us some nosh, those dried fish things, but we refused. I ain't about taking food from the needy. No need to concern yourselves so much with our hospitality. You have done more than enough to earn your keep. I turned around to look at the source of that low, rumbling voice, and saw an old man in an outfit that seemed to distinguish itself amongst the other villagers. Шекспир пересказывает там или чё? Ну да, тут долго, много текста. There you are, Chief. Is there a place for us to stay tonight? We do have places to shelter from the misty humidity at the very least. There's an empty building there, so feel free to occupy it for the night. Oh, are you sure? I mean, I don't mind sleeping in the streets myself. Hey, speak for yourself. I've been looking forward to sleeping with a roof over my head since, like, yesterday. You'll catch cold sleeping in the elements of this environment, which is fine by me for the rest of you, but we cannot afford to have the executive manager or our honored guests suffer that fate. Honored guests? Yeah. I heard what happened from the four who left in the search of the executive manager. First, I would like to begin by imparting my infinite gratitude to you for finding and rescuing the executive manager. I hear that you were a leader at the pharmaceutical company.
This acquaintance shall certainly come in handy in case our stay becomes significantly prolonged. I'm just surprised by her boldness to say something so materialistic when they're standing right there. Can I stay in your village too, Chief? The village chief took a brief glance at the hems by her right wrist and nodded.
Welcome to Fara Muerto. You are welcome to stay as long as you want. And please do let me know if you find yourselves without food. Our food supply may be tight indeed, but we have enough to share with those who helped repair the vessel.
Oh, you better not go back on your word later. I wonder what kind of local delicacies await. Dried fish like they were eating earlier, maybe? Hey, Chief.
What is it?
Just how are you surviving out here by the sea?
Perhaps the question of how we are surviving may be somewhat misdirected. But we are only pursuing every possible avenue because we must survive.
The chief responds to Scotty's perceived hostility with a hearty smile. After leaving some firewood for the night, he left. I'm going. Can't learn much more from here.
Huh? You going somewhere at this hour?
Scotty, does this have something to do with the coast? I remember what you said before we got to the village. Something about how coasts are hardly good places to live in. Dante wants to know if this has something to do with the coast. Do you understand the Aegir language? The Aegir language? No. Dante, Scotty just spoke in Aegirian. I couldn't understand a word of Scotty and the chief's conversation because I don't speak Aegirian. It may only be that there were enough lexical similarity between one of the city's languages and the language Scotty spoke in for them to comprehend the meaning. Weird coincidence. Anyway, I have some things to look into. Something you're all too slow to see. You still have to tell us about it later. E-girl, you think? E-girl language. You're right. Please remember you're not on a solo mission, Scotty. This is a team effort from Rhodes Island. Will do. Scotty nodded lightly before leaping off into the night, out of our sights. Kinda worried. She's not the best with people, but she's also pretty thoughtful. She'll be okay. Should we head inside? The sun's starting to get to set already. Oh, yeah. We can probably just pick an unlit building and stay the night there, right? Trying our best to ignore the mood that was starting to turn awkward, we made our way into a nearby unoccupied building. Okay. This part of reading is done. Is there more reading? I bet there is. Yep, more reading. Let's go. More reading. 2 out of 14. It's another reading section. Yeah. We walked past a few narrow buildings and remnants of narrow buildings before we came across a hall large enough to house all 15 or so of us. Okay, now we're ready. Я теперь не могу избавиться от мысли, что Данте не тикает, а озвучивает звуки в стиле «Уки». Dante speaks the e-girl language. True. Now we're ready. With the curtains in the window removed, the smoke has an exit. Well, I thought we were doomed to shut ourselves to sleep with the soaking wet firewood and all. I had no idea that it'd work. We just have to get small fire going underneath it until the wood dries up and catches fire. The downside being all this smoke. It's clear that she has some field experience, unlike some fools I know. I shan't sit here and let her carry the burden of labor alone. Bequeath upon me thine ingredients, young Rodion, for I shall conjure thee a pot of special fixer's soup. You're making soup with cookies and jelly? No, you're not getting anywhere near the kitchen again. Not after what you cooked up last time. Well, I must admit to a certain level of interest, as many of our fellows' viscera are oft racked with intense agony upon ingesting dishes of your making. Perhaps it would be wiser that we save the occasion for a safer environment. I tremble to know what you ought to make. Apparently it's a soup made of jelly. Я тоже удивлен. Right, don't you remember? We agreed to leave cooking to Mare or Oti if we're ever in a situation like this, remember? Did we?
See, I think it's become sort of an unspoken rule after everything that happened. Remember back during last year's cooking contest at K-Corp, they were the only two people who managed to get remotely positive reviews. Oh, does that mean we'll get to try Odysseus' cooking once again?
Denied. We still have plenty of high-calorie foods like cookies and jellies here. I find no reason to do something so inefficient. I'm glad to see that everyone's still energetic given the circumstances. It can't be easy to suddenly wake up in an unfamiliar environment. Роди нельзя подпускать к кухне. Нельзя. Она все сожрет.
Well, we're all quite used to getting thrown into unfamiliar places. Speaking of which, did you manage to reach your colleagues, Amia? She shook her head, concerned.
They might have lost their comms devices, or maybe they ran into some other trouble.
Could they be in danger?
I don't know, but I'm sure they're okay. The Dr. Kalt said they're both more than capable enough to look after themselves.
Даже не к кухне, а держать в радиусе километра от кухни. Вот именно. Long have this curiosity lingered within me. Thus allow me to inquire. Corporations are, by their nature, organizations in pursuit of profit. Yet the activities of your corporation resemble those of a charity organization, as opposed to a pharmaceutical company. Is there aught that might explicate this blurred distinction?
Ah, I wanted to know too. How come a pharmaceutical company like Rhodes Island's helping people?
Something about what Hung Lu said brings back unpleasant memories. The horrible experiments seen through the cascade of flowing tears in the face of suffering. The embodiment of greed that left a terrible wound in Hong Lu's fathoms. The pharmaceutical companies I've seen in my journey were corporations that, despite possessing the capacity to heal, chose to obsess over the profit it can provide.
There are many in Terra who are suffering from a disease. The disease crystallizes you. It spreads deeper and deeper into the infected's internal organs, eventually culminating in their death. It's called oropathy.
Amia showed me the back of her right hand, dotted by what appeared to be obsidian crystallizations. Its appearance reminded me of the bio-treatments from the backstreets, but there was something more to it. Something more restless, more sinister.
It's a terrible, painful disease, but there haven't been any recorded cases of full recovery. But there's an even worse problem.
Pray tell, what could possibly be worse than an incurable, deadly disease?
While it varies by region, discrimination against the infected is widespread across Terra.
Those who suffer from it must face unfair treatment. Yisang began with a dark expression.
Some are quarantined in places with terrible, inhumane conditions, and there have been massacres too. I don't mean to be callous, but is this oropathy highly contagious?
С одной стороны, бегать в пустыне в свитере и тупо, и пиздец тупо. Ты имеешь в виду Амию-то? Да вообще у нее как... Мне не нравится ее наряд. Она какая-то такая себе. Да, блин, типа, морда милая, ушки милые, а так-то что, все, больше ничего.
No, there have not been any recorded cases of infection by contact as long as the subjects are alive. But when the infected dies, the crystal growths on their body decay and turn to dust, scattering, which is what spreads the plague. Then, barring environments like active battlefields where casualties are to be expected, staying within close proximity of the infected in daily life seems to pose hardly any risk.
So what's the problem then? They're already past the point of caring about what the problem is. Once people start feeling iffy, all logic goes out the window.
And Rhodes Island's goal has to be... Yes, it's important to develop a cure for oropathy, but I think what really matters is that we change the circumstances for the better for the infected.
Слабость к зверодевушкам? Не, я согласен, они миленькие, конечно. Я сам как бы вот в Final Fantasy 14 я когда играю, там же у меня, там и эти, и кошка-девочки есть, и кролика-девочки есть, и ящерка-девочки есть. Вот у меня ящерка-девочка маленькая, очень милая там.
It's not going to be an easy endeavor, though that is what gives your effort more meaning. I hope you can achieve the goal, Amia. I really do.
For truth. The city, this world, we both live in worlds full of surprises, don't we?
What kind of world did you come from? This city.
What kind of place is the city anyway? The kind of place with too many pointless rules. The kind of place where the moment you think, isn't this too much, you see something even worse. Try as I might, I couldn't think of a single positive thing about the city. Yeah, it's kind of true. Да, им угрожает и тебя хватает за уши тянут вверх. Может быть. Можно проверить. The sinners seem to be in agreement, as most of what came after was quite scathing.
The kind of place where good deeds rarely ever go unpunished. Where sympathy is a good attitude to have if you like getting stabbed in the back. Nothing good ever works out there.
It's a shite hole.
It's an irrational place full of absurdities.
Absurdity is an omnipresence. Therefore, it is not a subject by which one should be aggrieved.
We can at least grouse about them, though. I mean, it's the only thing we can do.
It would be more correct to experience more and acclimatize oneself to it instead of complaining.
You did say something like that last time.
Just as the mood was starting to turn rather sour, Don Quixote's shout shattered through the awkwardness.
Verily, nary a day goes by untarnished by villains in their fell deeds. Yet worry thee not, for where evil riseth, as doth fixers of justice too.
Don Quixote jumped from her seat and passionately shook her fist, which was followed by a heavy crack and the sound of small pebbles stumbling down. Азаил пока что 1/5 войны мира. Да, вновь нормально, спасибо. Тебя как дела? Потянул уже все эго.
Don Quixote, watch out! Whoa!
And from behind the wall she accidentally broke down. An unfamiliar visage of a villager appeared and stared back at Don Quixote. It appeared that she was eating something out of a can while reading a book.
How farest thou? Farest thy foot? You gotta apologize first.
Last seemed a tad too high for the day.
Apologies, for I hardly expected the wall to crumble with such ease.
Точно Фриден, да, но это уже похоже, да.
Art thou unhurt? Any injuries? Two? Pray tell, to what? Forget the apology. I just want to know what happens next. The fixers of justice rose up to do what?
Oh my god. Oh my god. У Дон Кихота есть поклонница.
Oh, hast thou come to me to hear the tale of fixers? I don't know about coming to us, given how Miss Don Quixote was the one who punched the wall down. Oh, is it too late an hour? I don't mind waiting till morning if you want to sleep.
Nay, not at all. 'Tis quite early an hour for tales, in fact. Prithee, seat thyself here.
You ungovernable fool. Calm down. We don't even know who she is. And don't you forget to share those fixer tales over there in the corner to not disturb our sleep.
Thou makest the request most untenable. These tales deserve to be announced to the world with great gusto from the center.
Yeah, that's the best way to hear those kinds of stories. But we should probably introduce ourselves to each other first. Name's Mayers? I'm... how should I put this? Did you meet the village chief earlier during the day? He's my Gramps.
Oh, that nice guy. So he had a granddaughter.
Yet I have not seen you once, Miss Mayers, under the sun. Oh my, you're right. I thought the village was completely dried of any young blood.
Like Rhodia said, while we didn't see Mayers out there, there wasn't anyone else in the village we could comfortably call young. My goodness.
You're telling me. Cramps was worrying over nothing and told me to stay put inside. Going on and on about the dangers that the outsiders pose and everything. It seems that they do not give full faith to their saviors. There are things you cannot share even with whom you trust with your life, though I would like to know why. My. So there are a bunch of other kids who are stuck indoors in this village? No, there isn't anyone around my age in the village at all.
If that's the case, I guess I can understand why you'd be overprotective.
Anyways, it's our turn. We are Limbus Company! I'm good. I heard enough to get an idea.
You did?
Oh, pray, how didst thou hear us? Via a listening device most secret upon our chamber? Бегать такой шулер в пустыне среди монстров. Так она прячется в стене, блин. Mayor stabbed the side of the wall, the part of it that was still standing anyway, and smiled ironically. That's soundproofing. I could hear pretty much everything, Don Quixote, right? Everything Don Quixote practically sang during the day. Verily, I see.
I think you could really do with some sense of embarrassment for once.
Well, I guess that's good enough for self-introductions, so... Care to regale me with the tale of fixers who bring justice to the evils of the city? Indubitably! Then this shall do. I shall regale thee with the tale in which the legendary fixer, the arch-magnificence herself, the Red Mist... Oh my god! Oh, the Red Mist is mentioned!
Chat, you do not understand this. The Red Mist has been mentioned. I'm gonna come. I'm gonna come. The Red Mist? Limbus Company, Red Mist? The famous fixer, the Red Mist? I suppose that killed any hope for a good night's skip.
But, don't you usually pass out within a minute of your back hitting the hay no matter how noisy things are?
What? You take me for some kind of hibernated bear or something? Look, even I have trouble sleeping when there's noise all over. Bruh.
I'd say bear in hibernation is a pretty apt descriptor.
For all that grumbling and moaning, he dozed off before any of us did.
Aside from Heathcliff, who began snoring the moment his head touched the ground, some other sinners were fast asleep as well. Merceau had entered sleep in his usual steadfast adherence to the routine, while Faust laid claim to one of the few available cloth sheets as soon as the close of business for the day was confirmed. The sinners who had spent the entire last night searching for me in this unfamiliar land slowly began to fall asleep as well.
Meanwhile, the fixer of the Spy Association's first section... Though the night was no longer young, Don Quixote was still vigorously sharing the tales of adventures without even a single sign of fatigue. She's not determined to do this until sunrise, is she? Oh! I guess it's okay since Mayor seems to be having fun. As I continued to watch the pair with some mild concern, Amia, not yet asleep, approached me. This city Miss Don Quixote speaks of seems to be teeming with fixers of justice and exhilarating tales of adventures. Did you actually experience all of them yourselves? Don Quixote покорение ради спящего медведя. No, of course not. Don Quixote's stories are usually those of other famous people. But she's telling it with such vigor that it almost sounds like she was there herself. Well, I guess, if you really want to get into it, some of them might be retellings of Don Quixote's personal experiences. Ishmael replied uncertainly, thinking back to the plays we were made to watch back in La Mancha land. Well, I think all those stories, even though they're only partially true, just go to show what a ridiculous place it can be. We wouldn't need fixers of justice to begin with if we really lived in a just world, right? A really good place to live would be quiet and peaceful without something having to force it. Спасибо за hydrate. That's true. I hope there'll come a day when Rhodes Island can be a normal pharmaceutical company in the future. Something wrong? No, I just thought Miss Mayers and I made eye contact. Начнем стримать, надеюсь, Limbus выйдет на половину войны мира. Спасибо за что заглянул, Сергей. Хорошо отдохнуть тебе. Did she overhear our conversation? I looked to her direction as well, but all I saw was Mayors excitedly reacting to Don Quixote's tales. Well, what happened then? Thus spake Lady Ortiz boldly before the soldiers who stood in our path. Thou presumest to stand in our path, servants of a master most unworthy? I, Ortiz, shall educate ye on how manner maketh. Don Quixote was now retelling the stories of Limbus Company's adventures in Hong Yuan, and Ortiz, who could no longer stand Don Quixote's unintentional alterations of the story, jumped to her feet and shouted. Damn it, what kind of nonsense are you feeding her? I never said anything like that. Verily, certain aspects of this retelling may have been exaggerated. That's tales of adventure for you. Things are bound to get a bit dry when the story is told too realistically and as is, right? You know, nothing, not even anything resembles a proper record or a book remained once the profound silence swept through this village.
Profound silence?
So I've always had a craving for these kinds of stories. But Iberia doesn't stop Iberians from emigrating, contrary to their tight immigration control. Have you ever thought about leaving this place? It's still a challenge to cross the border, especially since we're going to have to pass through larger cities that are managed by the Inquisition. You don't seem to be particularly fond of this Inquisition. Why is that? That's because this village was formed by people who grew tired of living under the Inquisition's rule and fled.
Sorry, but what kind of organization is this Inquisition?
Sinclair asked, face turning cold upon hearing the word Inquisition and that people fled from it. Yeah, Nagalundhama we saw back in Kal aren't the kind of memories that are so easily forgotten.
According to Dr. Kaltzit, the Inquisition is what filled the power vacuum once Iberia fell into chaos. That its inquisitors are the rapier and lamp-wielding protectors of Iberia's cities from lawlessness.
That alone kind of makes them sound like good people, though.
Yeah, they are, but there's the Church of the Deep. The Inquisition will go to whatever lengths to deal with incidents related to the church that worships Seaborns. An organization that worships these monsters? It seems that cultish fanaticism is a plague wherever we go.
I feel like people with all kinds of wrong faiths and beliefs are so common.
See, the Seaborns are the ones that messed Iberia up. So following their logic, apparently it's okay for them to arrest anyone who seems even remotely connected to them. Are you saying that Iberia is like this because of the Seaborns?
Those stakes from earlier? I guess they were kind of troublesome to deal with, but they didn't seem that strong.
Anyways, it's just what I heard from Grams, but the Inquisition executed many innocent people too in their crusade against the Church of the Deep. For those who proclaim to be on the side of justice, they seem quite fond of committing such villainy. It seems like a reasonable policy decision to me. But it must pose a clear danger to the daily lives of civilians. Yeah, I heard I was the only survivor. Everyone in my family died.
You must have had to endure such a long period of pain to be able to say something like that with such composure.
For Iberia, they are heroes who will bring the land back to its glory days. But to Gramps, they were just oppressors making his life difficult. That's why we've all come here. Fleeing from the Inquisition's gaze.
Got to bathe the dog now.
See you.
See you in a bit, Super Boo.
Yet, wherefore hast thou decided to settle at a place that is so, rundown? Indeed. Yeah, I know, but it's not so bad once you get used to it. Besides, we managed to find a new path thanks to you guys.
A new path?
Well, it's getting late. Will you be repairing the ship tomorrow too?
This place really has no soundproofing at all, huh?
Good talk, everyone. Hope we'll get another chance to do this tomorrow too.
After seeing Mayers to her own room, the other sinners, those were still up anyway, and I laid ourselves on the hardstone floor with only a thin layer of cloth between it and our backs. A mysterious world that is neither the city nor the outskirts, but it seemed that the lives its people led were just as difficult as they were anywhere else. Something tells me that this is not so black and white as it might originally seem. Oh. Maybe I do want a rupture team. Clear selection. Dun, 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 dun. Should probably thread spin these. Hello, video game? Oh god. To remain oneself. One, two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Beep bop, beep bop, beep. Beep bop, beep bop, beep bop, bop, beep bop, 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 bop. It's so big. That's what she said. Amazing. I didn't know there were remaining vessels of this class in Iberia. Aha! I espy her name here. 'Tis called by the name Rebellion de la Masses. Rebellion de la Masses. Revolt of the Masses, is it? A name very much mired in peculiarity indeed. Honglu chimed in that he was rather fond of it, with its size being about the same as the boat from his home, while Ishmael quickly jumped in to correct us that its size alone wasn't anything special at the Great Lake, but it was still pretty big compared to Mephi or the Indigo Elder's skiff. I thought it was going to be somewhere around Mephi's size at most. Are you sure you can get this ship fixed in a day or two? As I briefed you yesterday, the great majority of the time-consuming repairs had already been completed by the villagers. The extent of our repair efforts only concerns a few components within the vessel that the villagers could not repair, which shouldn't take us much time. Unless parts that are unfamiliar to Faust are also malfunctioning, such as the core engine, remaining repairs should be sufficiently finished by Faust. Despite Otis' confident declaration, I could not help but feel oddly unsettled as I looked at the ship. I don't know why, but something tells me that we don't want to linger here for too long. Still, please be thorough about it, just in case. I'd rather not sit on a sinking ship again. The experience of the Great Lake was enough. Do not worry, Dante. Unlike Mephistopheles, most functions of this vessel, buoyancy gear, propellers, steering gear, are all in operational capacity. This repair should be much easier than the case with Mephistopheles.
I seem confident enough. It should be safe this time around, right?
Are we taking that rope to climb up to the ship? No, there's a lift-like apparatus down here. It should take us to the ship. Its stability was verified yesterday. Let us board the lift.
You're 100% certain, right?
The boat is afloat right now, Dante. I don't think it'll be sinking anytime soon.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Oh, are you two just going to faff about down here? We're heading up now.
No, we're going with you. As I made my way into the vessel's bridge, I was greeted by the extravagant interior that was as gaudy as its exterior.
This isn't real gold, is it? Sure is shiny as heck in here. I've got butterflies in my stomach.
AF.
Aesthetically satisfying, she says.
But too ostentatious. Not quite my style.
Our young Mephi is also quite the excellent vessel, yet imagine the adventures we could embark on aboard this vessel, most lavishly decorated.
As Faust and Otis were working on one of the controls panels, Ishmael walked up to another and interfaced with it before giving it a knowing nod.
This must have been an investigative or research vessel of sorts, but it does seem a bit extravagant for one of those, though. Look, coordinates, updating in real time, it seems.
The coordinates seem to have been set to somewhere out in the middle of the ocean. Maybe it points to a small islet.
Nope, no islet there.
Wah! Blimey, lass, you sure know how to sneak up on people.
Mayors? Haha, what? Did I actually surprise you? I did ask if you guys were gonna come fix the boat today.
Still, I didn't know you'd be here.
Why are the coordinates set to this location?
There are several undersea cities beneath those coordinates, collectively known as Eager. Gramps' home. I see. Understood.
What was understood, if I may ask?
It is now understood why the promise to repair this ship was sufficient to earn their trust and the title of saviors.
What's she on about? Someone get translated.
Consolidating and cross-referencing the observed particular circumstances of the village and the statements from the village chief, alongside information garnered from the exchange with mayors, it is possible to gauge the significance of this ship's repair as to the local populace. Of course, while this may constitute a sequence of logical connections that poses a certain challenge for Heathcliff to comprehend, to employ any degree of effort to attempt to explain it in more digestible language would constitute a pursuit of inefficiency.
Lower the baton, I implore you. I shall explain it in full.
I was wondering when Miss Smartass would start gabbing like that again. So, what's she on about? Heathcliff's shoulders were a little relaxed. It didn't seem like he was actually going to swing the bat. He placed it lightly over his shoulder with a sigh.
A brief observation of the village seemed to suggest their subsistence situation was quite dire. Much of their daily sustenance consisted of dried food, most of them made for long-term storage purposes. Considering what Scotty said about how the coastal areas are full of danger, maybe those dried seafood aren't from around here either. Maybe it's food they packed when they first came to Amfara Muerto?
Some villagers were armed, yeah, and those sea terrors weren't exactly that formidable, but given the state the villagers are in, I doubt they'd have an easy time repelling those monsters.
Indeed, and that brings us to the question of sustenance.
Right, I get what's going on here. The lass and her granddad are about to visit their hometown, and they're trying to get some food supplies from there to feed the villagers. And to convince them, they're planning to use the fact they're from the same neck of the woods, or sea, I guess.
Oh, so we're not just repairing their ship, we're repairing their food supply plant too. Huh? What's wrong?
It's, While the expressions were a little crude, Heathcliff's summary of the situation was clear, to the point, and easily understood. The sinners stared at him with mild surprise. And I did too. What's with them annoying looks? Wait. Aw, you sods. You don't think I'm that dim-witted, do you?
Yeah, top-notch intuition.
It's just that it's been a while since you've shown this side of yourself. Thinking back, Heathcliff's intuition has always been excellent, and he'd often put together surprisingly accurate conclusions with impressive speed.
You know, when you really think about it, it's kind of your fault for,
I've been too soft on you lately, haven't I? I get back here.
Now, with those fools out of the conversation, was he correct?
Otis looks away from the usual chaos and asks Mayers.
Honestly, I'm surprised. He was on point. Yeah, food's been running low in the village. At this rate, we won't last another year. But the Aegir will. I'm sure they will welcome us with open arms. I don't want to come off like I'm overly worried, but do you think they'll welcome the others too? Unlike mayors or chief, they're not Aegir.
I believe they will. Iberia suspects and hates the Aegir for no other reason than we're from the sea, but our home cannot have fallen so low as to abandon a group of starving land dwellers.
Prithee, might thou explain to us who the Aegir are?
I had initially thought it to be a reference to a region, yet it also seems to refer to an affiliation of sorts. Maybe there's something like nest dwellers, though I don't think I've heard of a nest that accepts backstreets people with open arms.
Or maybe there used to be some rich folk.
Hey, they call them nest toft Aegir here. And does that make the rabbity lass Aegir too?
Oh, wait, in the world he came from, did they not distinguish between races? That is not entirely true. Delineation between races is a concept that does exist.
Though I only saw them in the Fathoms, there were those terrifying things called the cuckoo spawns.
However, as a general rule, it can be said that humans should be the only intelligent life forms in the city. The people of Terra have slightly varying appearances depending on their race, like my Kautos ears. And I've got pointed ears because I'm an Aegir, though it's not a characteristic every Aegir shares. The closest idea to what they are discussing appears to be,
Don Quixote seemed to be struggling to finish her sentence. Rousseau stepped in to continue.
By context clues and the manner of word usage, including the means of classification, the closest example in our world will be blood fiends. Similar external appearances to humans, different natures, comparable sapiens.
Tis of my belief that blood fiends are ostracized due to their nature that maketh coexistence with humans difficult. It may be that the Aegir are also. I'm sure some of them do possess qualities to make coexistence with others difficult, but they're probably rare.
Why am I getting messaged by so many people? On Discord, I mean. Nice. Okay. Alright, everything's fine. But I had to check.
Then wherefore are they made subjects of suspicion and hatred? That's...
Well, the language is new, but the idea itself is pretty familiar to the city folks like us. Think of feathers of fallen wings, kids born in the back streets, people who replace their body parts with prosthetics.
The form differs, yet in its essence we find the thread.
Something about how we keep finding these similarities in the ways of our lives, despite finding ourselves in a different world with different rules, races, and humans. Felt oddly discomforting.
The point is, you guys are doing us a real solid by fixing up the shit. Let's move on from these gloomy conversations, okay? I'm going to show you the cooler parts of the ship. This way. Ship door may have to wait. The repairs are almost completed, but an issue has a reason. Issue?
Oh, well, that's not reassuring at all.
Multiple life forms identified ahead that seem to be a sea terror horde. The ship's radar system seems to suggest that the vessel is surrounded. They're the same monsters from yesterday. Executive Manager, please order us to prepare for battle. Yeah. Are they the sea terrors you encountered?
They look a bit different, but yeah, probably.
There's a lot of them, but if our last experience tells us anything, we should be able to handle this. Amiya, please support us in battle like you did yesterday. Canst thou fight, young mayors? I feel like I'm just gonna get in your way. Then, guys, find a place to keep mayors as far as possible from the battle. Then let's hurry down there. We don't want them damaging the ship any further.
Ah, putative. A reprieve from all the talking. Dog. What's the dog doing? These guys are weak. Mission accomplished. Money. Big one. Nervous impairment. It's not that important, I guess. If they die, it literally doesn't matter. Mission accomplished. The remaining entities have all returned to sea. Is everyone okay? It was just like our last skirmish. Sea terrors that had surrounded the ship returned to the sea even before the battle came to an end. And the retreat felt too orderly and deliberate to be just running away. Almost like they're making a retreat. We're doing peachy, but what about the ship? Oh, is the ship okay?
Minor damages to the hull, but nothing that will impede the ship's operational capabilities.
Whew.
So I noticed during the battle, I might be wrong of course, but I think I noticed how around the end of the battle, those monsters were starting to go after the manager?
You're probably right, actually. I noticed too, at some point during our battle, those monsters realized that it's the manager who's commanding the rest of us.
I sensed the very same. Their movements were fluid and adaptive, as though they were learning our behavior. Why does the Church of the Deep worship monsters like them?
That ain't much of a question in it. They must have all gone mental.
I'm sure they have many reasons, but Seaborns are beings of infinite potential, so much so that there's no superlative big enough to properly convey the scale. As organisms, they can endlessly evolve and adapt. Every time they encounter a new environment or a new element, they transform themselves and other Seaborns. Maybe that's their draw.
That fascination may be an attitude most befitting a researcher, yet the transformation of fascination into idolatry is, if I may be frank, not entirely positive.
I find them pretty uncomfortable. They just remind me of whales. Then can they adapt to learn a language to communicate with us?
What?
Going by everything we've heard, I think they sound really smart. Mare's eyes went round at Honglu's suggestion. She brought her hands to her mouth, surprised. It sure was something. I heard there was a Seaborn who could talk. If non-humans speak the language of humans, regardless of its testament to their intelligence, I can only think of two possibilities as to why they would. One, to communicate with humans, the other, to deceive the humans. More often than not, it's the latter. What about distortions? Some of them already know how to speak. Distortions are phenomena in which humans transform into monstrous forms, first observed after the White Knights and Dark Days incident. Therefore, that example is irrelevant to Otis's supposition. White Knights and Dark Days? She whispered quietly, but as we were standing rather close to her, we all caught on to the hint of joy in her voice. The pillar of light in the city, did it really?
How have you come across this knowledge, Miss Mayers?
Oh, that's...
Ain't it obvious? We've got the culprit right here. The storyteller Laz has been going on with no end.
Yeah, she's been talking non-stop all morning about all kinds of stories, hasn't she? Oh, yet I have not got that far. You again? You didn't get so lost in your own stories that you blabbed all about our company secrets, have you? Nay, fie, I would simply not. As Don Quixote was subject to yet another round of scolding, Amia stared out toward the sea, wary that sea terrors might start crawling to the surface once again before turning towards us. I wonder which of the two the Seaborns are. Their sense of self is really, really faint, so I don't think they'd be in either category. I think it's possible that they learned human language out of instinct, that the power of speech might help them survive.
It appears that you, Miss Mayers, are quite the expert in the subject of Seaborn. Your knowledge of them goes beyond what fear for one's survival may yield, thereby suggesting a different means of acquisition. Do you, by chance, worship the Seaborns?
I don't worship the Seaborns. Seaborns don't have any hopes or wishes, just desire for survival.
Miss Mayers, does that mean if Seaborns were somehow able to hope?
Maybe so.
Is that so?
The repairs are complete.
As we were conversing, Faust descended from the ship with a neatly organized set of tools borrowed from the village, repairs completed. Guessing the repairs are done?
Yes, the ship is ready to sail.
Did you have a departure time and date in mind? I'd prefer if we could depart as soon as possible.
We don't have a set time or anything, but I think we should be able to set sail this late afternoon at the earliest.
That soon?
As you have seen, we don't have a lot to bring with us. By the way, how far out to the sea do you guys need to go?
We need to find this dimensional door of sorts.
I could see the dimensional door's light from the beach at night. It was faint, but given how the light's strong enough to break through the sea fog, we should be able to determine its location somewhere around the coastal waters.
So we can go back tonight?
The first order of business is to relay this news to the villagers.
Yeah, back to the village for now. More reading. I feel like. Can I get some spins? Yeah, let's get some spins. And I can pull more on this, more on the gacha. Oh, a duplicate? Don't fear the absence of brilliance. Oh. Wait, I got all the things already. Okay. Cool. Well, that was a lucky pull. Vav. Man in at 1 plus. Wait. Thread exchange. Let's eat all of Honglu's shards. Unbrilliant glory. When used for the first time in battle, consume 1 fewer wrath, fewer sloth, and fewer pride resources. Ah. It's cheaper. At 1 plus man and scabbard. Activate Unbrilliant Glory Incandescence instead. Gain 1 man and scabbard. Gain 10 stacks at turn end. Can you gain up to 20 per turn? For every stack divided by 8, gain 1 aggro. For every stack divided by 20, gain 1 protection. So you activate this one first. You get Man and Scabbard. He stacks it up. Max stack 40. And then you get Unbrilliant Glory Incandescence. At 40, Man and Scabbard becomes clashable. Until the skill ends, this unit cannot be staggered and gains clash power plus 20. Okay, that's good. This becomes a 35 clash strength. It gives bag ego resources. It gains attack weight. Defense level up. And also more damage. And gains protection. Okay. And it's a burn tremor. Okay. That's cool. Be assured, this sword, this honor, this glory won't be tarnished. Alright. More reading. The Inquisitor. Not even halfway through.
There's something going on in the village.
Yeah, I hear it too. I'm hearing people shouting and hollering.
When we returned to the village, ship repairs completed, we were welcomed by a rather hostile standoff. A quick count told me there were approximately 20 people assembled at the village square. Considering its population, that was pretty much the whole village.
Who's that over there? Inquisitor. I think we've been found.
The Inquisitor, dressed in a well-kept uniform, was about the same height as Don Quixote. The sword and the lamp hanging from her waist sits in a stark contrast with the more run-down, ramshackle village. She almost looked like a fixer from the city. So, the Inquisition has discovered our village.
Did you really think you could forever stay out of the Inquisition's gaze, citizen? That's a naive dream. Fabius disappeared from the Inquisition mid-interrogation under charges of suspicion of membership within the Church of the Deep. Last known location, Salt Flat. The other Inquisitors have informed me that you have been identified next to pirates in its fringes. From a criminal to an outlaw, What a dramatic evolution of your career. But it ends here now. Every citizen here, including you, will be accompanying me to the Inquisition.
They have never broken a single law, nor are they outlaws of any kind. They are not like me.
They've disregarded the Inquisition's authority, evaded the gaze of Iberia, and found the southern coast to lurk in. Tell me I'm not supposed to find that suspicious.
What are you talking about? You can't just start arresting people left and right with a tenuous suspicion like that. You shouldn't.
We only wish to live a quiet life, ma'am. Is that so? Then you might find yourself returning to this village one day, as long as you're telling the truth. Which is not an option for you, Fabius.
Mayors, was Chief really a pirate?
Well, yeah, but as far as I know, he's been out of the game for a while. And even when he ran with the pirates, all he ever did was share bin beast jerky to villages. Or carry Agarians between them. Even if you're telling the truth, Mayors, I doubt the Inquisition will be lenient. Well, what now? I have but one question to ask. That Inquisitor, is she following the proper legal procedures? I don't know much about the laws of Iberia, but Dr. Kaltsit told us that the words of Inquisitors were pretty much the law here. It is likely that she is following the proper legal procedures. The procedures are precisely what the villagers have fled from, after all. Then it is decided. Otis quite quietly dragged me to the side and whispered outside Mayor's earshot. The sinners who were right next to me seemed to have picked it up, though. Executive Manager, we best immediately return to the ship, take command of it, and sail out on our own. It is unwise to involve ourselves in this conflict.
What? Are you seriously suggesting that we just let him arrest the villagers?
Didn't you hear what the Inquisitor said? It seems quite cut and dry to me. If this is just standard procedure with no local laws broken, we are in no place to involve ourselves. Our best hope is to take the ship before they impound that too.
We can't do that. Even if it is standard procedure. Even if they're working within the law. It's not... You stayed up to hear his mayor's story too, didn't you? You know, the N-Corp Inquisitors were working within the law too when they came for the village. That was standard procedure too. If anyone had stepped in then.
I know what you went through, but I'd still rather not take a risk in an unfamiliar environment like this. I will try my best to figure out how to sail that ship. If I cannot, then I have faith in Ishmael to quickly learn its controls. Can't say you're wrong, but I don't know. Neither you nor I know anything about the ocean currents here, Otis. We can get the ship going, but I can't guarantee that we'll reach the dimensional door without any trouble. Do you know anything about the sea currents in this region? Not much, but I know the coastal sea somewhat. And you can't fight the Inquisitors directly here in Iberia. Fleeing with the ship might be the better option. What should we do, Dante?
Yeah, I guess it's kind of awkward for us to just take the ship and go, huh?
How about we try to talk to the Inquisitor then? I think we should at least try to hear them out first. Them being the Inquisitor and the Chief both. If the discussion goes well, we might even be able to get the Inquisition's support. Like Mr. Honglu said, we should hear them out first, then try to convince them.
I agreed with them both. First, let's at least see what that Inquisitor has to say. Rabbit's right, she says. Are you certain that translation was accurate, Sinclair?
Right? There's no way Ryosha would choose anything other than violence, right?
Idiots. It's because the other options are pointless. Inquisitors seen us. We're already under suspicion. She will doubtlessly try to stop us if we flee now. So talk first, lower her guard, then attack.
Pretty sure that's not what Amiya meant. Well, if she's already onto us, then we shouldn't give her an excuse to attack us by running away. I was wondering what you were doing there, lurking in the background. A clock-shaped head? Are you from the Columbian Union? They're wearing a clock for a head due to reasons, but they have nothing to do with the Columbian Union. What's the Columbian Union?
TikTok?
What? Which language are they speaking? Regardless of whether you're from Colombia or not, you're clearly not from Iberia, let alone this village.
You're not wrong, but I think there's been a bit of a misunderstanding.
I'm quite certain you don't know enough about these villages to stand between them and an Inquisitor. How long have you been staying here?
2 days?
Buddy, don't just tell her that.
2 days? All right, enough of this chicanery. Get out of my way, outsider.
The attempt appears to have been made on quite the unstable ground.
Please lend us your ear for a minute, Inquisitor. I am Amia, leader of the Rhodes Island. Yes, I am aware of Iberia's closed border situation. I felt hope swelling within me as Amia began with confidence, unlike Sinclair. Alas, it was short-lived. Thanks to the Inquisitor's quick retort, I couldn't help but place my palm against my forehead in the exchange that followed. Oh, so not only are we dealing with outsiders of dubious origin, we have illegal entry as well? We had to, because the issue demands urgency and... I've been briefed. Brazenly crossed the border, didn't you? I don't know how urgent that issue could be, but I doubt it's anything more significant than the situation at hand for Iberia and its Inquisition. The High Inquisitor is handling the Rhodes Island issue. Stay put and await the consequences, while he and that chatty med doctor of yours talk it out. Do know that your treatment may depend on her negotiation skills. As for the village chief, I understand that you have the right to arrest him, as he is a fugitive who has fled in the middle of interrogation, and has been sailing with the pirates. However, it is an inhumane treatment to arrest the rest of the villagers as well. Inhumane? This decision is well within the rights bestowed upon the Inquisition. They've lived for years right next to that highly suspicious Aegir. The Inquisition must investigate the rest of them as well to verify whether they have committed any acts of treason against our laws.
This isn't going anywhere, is it?
Listen, they've been surviving for years upon years by the coast without the protection of the Inquisition, and that simply cannot make sense.
Oi, I think I've heard enough from you. Ain't funny how you're blaming them for what is essentially a failure of your responsibilities. And now you're all up in it, only to go, they shouldn't be alive, I'm arresting them all. Or are you saying these people should all be dead or something?
I am. There's no other way to cut it. People simply shouldn't be able to survive in a place like this, not for this long. The Inquisitor's reply only seemed to fan Heathcliff's wrath as he lifted his bat and began striding forward.
Ah, that's it. Lass, if you ever so much as touch as the tip of a single villager's hair.
Please calm yourself, Heathcliff. But Honglu stepped in between them.
Get your bloody hands off me. I've had enough of her.
Continuing to threaten her will cause something irrevocably bad to happen. I believe you know that yourself, Heathcliff.
What are you suggesting? We're clearly not making any progress, but try to talk this out.
Excuse me, Miss Inquisitor. What do you mean that people shouldn't be able to survive in a place like this? I mean it literally. Even by some miracle that they actually do survive, they should at least be suffering from endless hunger, struggling to their wits' end at the inevitability of the calamity. But they look too healthy. The heck? Then shouldn't you be applauding them for managing to survive through so much hardship? I am an Inquisitor. I'm not some crazy person on a power high who goes around accosting and arresting civilians of Iberia straight to the gallows, okay? I have more than enough probable cause to take them in for interrogation. It's just that I don't have the time or the energy to explain every single one of them to you outsiders. I promised them a fair judgment, whichever way that may be, after a proper investigation. So stop it with this obstruction of justice. The Inquisitor brandished her rapier threateningly, her voice shaking with frustration. Dante, without the full picture of the circumstances, Faust advises against further antagonization of a local political authority. I agree with Faust. I get the feeling that she isn't the kind of heartless Inquisitor that goes around indiscriminately executing innocents, like Miss Mayers told us about earlier. I don't think she's anything like the Inquisitors of Encorp we saw back at Caw. They were right. We didn't have the full picture of the circumstances, getting in the way of an Inquisitor who was clearly a rather significant political entity in the area,
was most likely a bad idea.
It isn't the Inquisitor's job to answer your questions. Continue to obstruct me, then. As the standoff was showing no signs of ending, Miss Mayers? I can answer your questions, so for now let's do as the Inquisitor says.
Mayers, who's been hiding behind us ever since we returned to the village, suddenly stepped forward.
Yet, what of that grandfather and the villagers?
It's all right. I'm sure this is happening only because the Inquisitor doesn't know.
What do you mean you'll answer the question?
About the profound silence. Maya's response to Otis was but a single concept. I didn't quite grasp its significance, but it seemed to surprise the Inquisitor. That's what they call the calamity that destroyed Iberia. More lore. Spinning clock. I need to recharge my Enkeflin, yes. Enkef. Oh. No. No. Equip the new thing. Equip the new thing. There we go.
You. Decades ago, a great wave ravaged through Iberia.
It wasn't long before the Seaborns carried by the waves diminished Iberia's brilliant civilization to this.
The waves. The profound silence then must have reduced the village to its current state as well. Is there any reason it's called the profound silence? Doesn't seem like the most appropriate moniker for a calamity like that. It's because the sea went dead silent before the waves came. The silence then claimed the ships out at sea, then the cities of Iberia, then the Iberians. No one could say a word in the face of the ineffable calamity. Just what are you? No average Iberian citizen should be privy to any of the information you're sharing. And the Church of the Deep is really capitalizing on the pandemonium that followed the profound silence. They pretend to be Aegir from the sea, delude the citizenry of Iberia, and are sowing chaos in her lands.
So that's why they're arresting the Aegir left and right. I can see the thought process, but,
So, it's understandable why the Inquisitor would want to arrest us. Dante.
This isn't good. Sharing that seems to have been some kind of a taboo-like thing for the Inquisition. The Inquisitor wordlessly stared at Mayers. Her eyes were filled with traces of anger and confusion, but
she's afraid.
There was fear in the face of a threat. Not the fear of the terrified, no. It's the fear of someone who is suddenly confronted with something they must destroy.
The High Inquisitor once told me that, should I come across an Aegir who knows too much, there is a sliver of a chance that they may be of assistance to Iberia. Cease! Thou art threatening the innocent with thy brandishing of the firearm. But most are seduced by the allure of the sea. Thus, they are, with little doubt, our foes.
I've got a bad feeling about this.
Get out of my way, outsider. Final warning.
Run! Quick on the uptake as always, Rodia slung Mayers over her shoulder and ran past the villagers, while the sinners scattered in all directions to distract the Inquisitor. The Inquisitor draws her firearm, and in the midst of all that action, Don Quixote rushed toward the Inquisitor without a moment's hesitation.
Don Quixote, thou shalt go no further. I, a fixer of justice, shan't abide by as thou persecute them. Forsooth, 'tis a battle delayed, not avoided. This clash is inevitable.
In that moment of crisis, seconds before this could irrevocably make us a new enemy,
monitor.
A large obsidian crystallization in the shape of a monster burst forth between the two of them.
Who is it this time? That's enough meaningless bickering. Dr. Kaltzit.
Do you know her?
Yes, she's Dr. Kaltzit. Road Silence Medical Departments. Dr. Kaltzit behind you. Shoot first, talk later, is it? The negotiations are over. From this moment onward, Rhodes Island is now operating within legal capacity on Iberian territory, under the Inquisition's authorization.
The Inquisitor fired a blasted firearm-looking weapon, but the monster summoned by Kaltzit managed to deflect it, and the cannonball thrown from the weapon punched clean through the wall of the building we stayed the night in, before punching through several other buildings behind it. That was enough to instantly freeze the sinners and the villagers on the spot. That penetrated the building, though their walls may be weaker than the head standard for what counts as a building exterior wall. To punch through so many is... what a precise point it makes. Now's not the time to stand around impressed. It is a violation of a taboo to have that much penetrative power in a firearm.
We're not in the city. Don't lose your heads over this. Taboos don't apply here.
My head knows that to be true, yet my heart finds it difficult to be still. That is enough of that discussion for now. It is advisable that we carefully observe and grasp the situation at hand, instead of deliberating on a taboo the jurisdiction of which does not reach this far. Yeah, so the situation's gotten slightly better, right? If she's Amia's friend, she's our ally. Besides, she's got some super powerful looking prosthetic gear looking thing too. A taboo, huh? Yeah. It is indeed a taboo. Welcome, Garion. Is that what you think? I apologize for the disappointment, but I'm not on anyone's side. In other words, your particular denomination ally might not be entirely correct. However, I must define my allegiance then. Let me inform you that the closest label would be that I am Inquisitor Irene's ally.
Dr. Kaltzit.
Amia, outsiders. As much as you would like to deny it, the Inquisitor's suspicions are true. While it can be said that the process by which she reached that conclusion was unfair, the conclusion itself is, without a doubt, correct.
So they're actually connected to the Church of the Deep.
That is one way to put it. To be more precise, they aren't connected to the Church of the Deep. They are the Church of the Deep. Perhaps the village itself is a dilapidated church of their congregation. Oh my god. Our village a church? Just look at our buildings. Where would we even congregate? Your thoughts, Faust? There are not many resources by which we may analyze the decision. However, the fact that Amia's colleague had made the same argument as the Inquisitor brings the accused's defense into question? I feel like that was not correct English there.
Yet I can hardly believe the young Mayors is lying to us.
Hold on, you've been chatting plenty with that Inquisition or whatever. How do we know you weren't aligned with them the whole time?
I see, you really are all entirely in the dark. An expected outcome, given that you all may be from a place far beyond the dimensional door. As fortune should have it, there is no need for you to know it anyway. Truth is truth unchanging, without the acceptance from an errant group of outsiders. Besides, soon...
I'm sorry. It seems that we've mired you in this trouble.
Ah, say no such thing. We shall not abide by as one such injustice is perpetrated before our eyes.
The village has already been identified by the Inquisition, and the Inquisition has even brought an ally. It seems quite unlikely that words shall resolve this conflict. But we promise you, we will take responsibility for what is done. We have benefited far too much from your warmth and kindness not to do so.
The village chief, with a benevolent look, pulls a dagger from his cloth, and I immediately knew what Kaltzit was about to say. Take responsibility? You don't have to do that. Gah!
Blimey! We are now departing for the sea, yet as we cannot bring ourselves to leave you here, I must ask you to join us for this journey, become our bloodkin.
What are you doing? Stop! The unanticipated, or perhaps I was simply in denial of this rising dread, ambush did not end there.
Damn it, the Inquisitor was right.
The villagers suddenly began shanking the sinners with weapons they had concealed in their clothes, and it seemed that they were coming for me as well. Ah! Amia, on your left! Amia materialized a black ribbon-like apparition, parrying away the dagger flying in my direction. But another villager rushed in, taking advantage of the opening. Charging villagers back made a visceral, crunchy noise. Someone's flung them away.
Didn't mean to be this late. Scotty, let me catch you up to speed. I know the situation. This fishy smell was what I went to investigate earlier. What about the sinners? Like Amiya and I, who managed to survive the initial ambush, the sinners weren't doing so well. Just turn the clock back, it's fine. At least we had a silver lining that the Inquisitor and Kaltzit's quick understanding of the situation and the subsequent retaliation led the villagers away from the sinners. How? I didn't notice any hostility or aggression.
What an odd thing to say. Why would we hold any animosity against you? Why would we intend to kill you? We are not trying to hurt you. We are simply trying to give you a form better suited for the sea. Until we were obstructed.
I apologize for our unfamiliarity has caused you trouble, Inquisitor. I won't make a big stink about what happened. What's truly unforgivable is that the heretics tried to take advantage of the ignorance of outsiders to flee the Inquisition. And even if you are outsiders, any lives lost on Iberian soil are my responsibility. It's my fault. I'm sorry it came to this. Wait, lives lost? We're still alive, you know? We can just shake off a stab wound like... This is most unfortunate, outsider. What? Your friends are either going to die or turn into seaborns. The daggers that stabbed them were laced with the flesh of sea terrors. Once that happens, most die, and the survivors become overwritten by their cells, becoming nothing more than another sea monster. What? That's not a very big deal? Everyone was acting like this was it for the sinners, but hey, I should be able to deal with this by turning the clock. It's not that bad. My only concern was that I didn't know what would happen if I tried to bring them back after they're fully transformed into seaborns. The golden bow helped deal with the whale's palidification effects, but I had no idea how it would interact with seaborn transformations. We should just kill them before they turn. I know this must be very hard for you, but for... What? Sorry to bother you with this, but can you kill my friends? And preferably in the least painful way, you know? Oh, sorry, was the last part kind of too much to ask? Oh, wait, don't give up already. If we bring them back to Rhodes Island, we should be able to do something to help them. How should I explain this? Guys, can you... Dante, I know what you mean, but I just can't right now.
My strength has rapidly deteriorated since the ambush.
It's kind of tingly too, so maybe they used some kind of paralytic cocktail? Just trust me this one time. I can assure you that I'm not just giving up on them. But... Amiya, can you understand the outsider's speech? Yes, it's just that they're making a pretty difficult request. They want me to kill all their friends before they transform into seaborns. Okay.
Based. And before we even knew it, Scotty had already decapitated the sinners, none of whom resisted. Amiya seemed to have been taken aback by how fast Scotty jumped into action.
What are you doing?
Scotty? Don't let this spook you. This is just how we roll. Clock turns. The decapitated heads creep toward the headless torsos connecting with the threads of blood. The sensation is that of reversal. It feels as though the sinners and I are severed from the rest of the world, rewinding in isolation. Is this rewinding us going back in time, or are we defying the concept itself? This pain is multifold worse than the sensation of a straightforward decapitation. The pain is in the heart. As the current of death reverses, I sense a deep, crushing isolation.
Their wounds are disappearing.
Resurrection, metempsychosis, or time reversal? Puzzling. I have no knowledge with which to interpret this technology. The cost seems to be that the pain is transferred to one who rewinds. That seems too small a price for such great power, though the discussion of whether this can be categorized as power should be explored later. I couldn't stop shaking. All of my limbs were trembling from the icy solitude. Still, I took a moment to collect myself and ordered the sinners. I don't know just what they were thinking, but we should be able to find out once we take them down.
You dare deceive the executive manager and try to take their life? Prepare thyself, for thou shalt now pay the price for making a mockery of justice.
Yeah, we can't just let this slide, you know.
How unfortunate. I had high hopes that all of you would become fine bloodkins.
Oh well. That's what you get for messing around with non-humans. Cultist of the Deep. The music is nice though.
쪽일지 잘 생각해보라고. 끝내지. 목을 떨궈주마. 넌 푸름을 틔울 수도 없겠구나.
이 거리는 충분해. 너한텐 조금 멀겠지만.
그쪽 방향이 아닐 텐데. 자, 어느 쪽일지 잘 생각해보라고. 끝내지. 목을 떨궈주마.
Kill him. Mission accomplished. It's a cool shot, though.
Oh, wait, I think they're heading to... He's running himself into a dead end. Are they seeking refuge at sea? Wait, that's where the ship is. That's where they're headed. They're trying to board the vessel Masas. Oh, wait, but we never told them that the ship was repaired, so how...
Ain't it obvious? The whole village's in on it. It ain't a surprise that they'd send someone to spy on us, or they'd know a way to get the ship floating even in its broken state.
Vessel Masas? Vessel Rebellion de las Masas. That ship is moored at a port in that direction. Wait, it can't be!
Irene, who was preoccupied with battling the rest of the followers of the Church of the Deep, who were in hiding, quickly gave chase. But Fabius and the villagers were already aboard the repaired ship, slowly departing the harbor with a horde of sea terrors between us and them.
How can a vessel that size become operational this fast? The exterior, the name, it must have been constructed during the golden age of Iberia. But how are we supposed to chase that? What if we built a raft and rowed after them?
Mate, come on.
Sea's full of sea terrors. You won't get very far before it sinks. Do you see something, Amir? You keep looking in that direction. Oh.
The vessel Masas soon disappeared into the mist, and the village was left empty with nary a sign of people ever having been there, as though this getaway had all been premeditated. Leaving only Mayors.
또 한 줄 길을 남겼구나. 핏물진 길일 뿐이지만
Three-way agreement. Well, I mean, I guess they got what they wanted.
홍호는 그제야 알게 되겠지.
Damn it, can't we just take any ship to go after it?
It's a research vessel. It can't possibly be very fast. This'll be difficult. Even if it is a research vessel, I'm sure it was constructed during the golden age of Iberia. No average ship can keep up with it. Ah. Which is a problem, because I doubt we have any ship that can travel at the same speed. We only have a few small vessels left, which are all anchored too far from this location to be feasible options. Do we have any recourse? No, not unless we can identify the exact location of the vessel. Which is the real problem. We can find ourselves a ship to go after them, yes, but most eyes of Iberia, the lighthouses, were lost during the profound silence. Wait, when you say most, do you mean there's some left? Just one, as far as I know. The one in Gran Faro, but that lighthouse cannot be used at this moment. There's another. There's a lighthouse you can use. Really? Huh? Are you really going to give one of the villagers the benefit of the doubt? Yet young Scotty had already confirmed her to be safe. All I confirmed is whether she's a seaborn or not. Can't know if she's a cultist. Tis true, yet... Once we saw that Mayors was left all on her own, we decided to have her accompany us at all times and keep her within Irene's eyeshot. We couldn't possibly blame her for what happened, given Scotty's confirmation that she doesn't have anything to do with those sea monsters. Besides, they'd all left her behind. But Irene still seemed to harbor a bit of suspicion. The problem with the Aegir is that she simply knows too much. Where could she possibly have gained access to all that information? See, she can't even answer that question. But let's think about it this way. What if we were to ask her what we don't know? The location of that lighthouse, for example. They're ticking rapidly. What do they say? Fanta says that we should approach it differently and ask her what we don't know, like the location of the lighthouse. That seems like a reasonable suggestion to me. Or does the Inquisitor have an alternate solution to this conundrum? No, but... Fine, let's hear it. I won't interrogate you about how you have access to things that even us Inquisitors don't know. At least not right now. Para Muerto. Dead Lighthouse. That's our village name. Somewhere a little ways off from the coastline, there is an intact Eye of Iberia on the sea, though it was almost destroyed when the profound silence swept through. Off the coastline? Is it not connected to the land? I think it used to be until it sank. We should be able to procure ourselves enough wood and material from the village to build a raft. Is it near enough for a raft to be the means of access? The weather is not great today, but it should do. It's not very far away from the coast. But you're going to trust the Aegir? I don't see why I shouldn't. I understand that Iberian mistrust of the Aegir is quite profound, yet such sentiment is hollow for the rest of us. Inquisitor Irene, what did you feel when you saw the Rhodes Island operator? If you're talking about the Countess, nothing in particular, other than a slight annoyance when she accused me of being inhumane. So you didn't harbor any hostility nor disgust. Not that you would have felt any sense of sympathy or empathy either. I thought, I have no history or feelings for or against the Aegir. Such must be the same for the outsiders.
What's she on about?
She's conveying that in matters in regards of mayors, our opinions are more objective than Irene's. Finding the vessel Fabius commandeered will be of benefit to all. Limbus Company will gain an opportunity to return to the city via the Dimensional Door, while Rhodes Island will have the chance to study it at a closer proximity. And the Inquisition will gain possession of the vessel in which the technology from the Iberian Golden Age is contained. What? You're just going to hand that over to the Inquisition? Why should we covet what was once Iberia's? While there certainly are aspects to that vessel that draw interest, I already have a state-of-the-art masterpiece known as Mephistopheles. As long as that can be guaranteed, I see no reason to refuse. Irene eventually agreed to put her trust in mayors. We are in luck, Executive Manager. It is quite fortunate that our interests aligned exactly with that of the first strangers we encountered in a strange land. Lucky is right. Imagine if we were back in the city. It would have taken them like 3-4 free distortion hunts for us to come to this agreement. Sorry about having to saddle you with this, Mayors. Please lead us to the lighthouse. Okay, happily. So when you said almost destroyed, how almost destroyed is it? I heard that the light faded from the lighthouse a long time ago, but the shape still stands. At least it was when I saw it a few months ago. If the lighthouse is in an operable state, we are going to need an expert technician to get it back in working order. The technology is completely divorced from the popular application of Originium technology, so I doubt there's anyone out there who can work it anymore. Then, you needn't worry about that. Here, we have an engineer and a researcher who are geniuses even amongst those in the city, so we should be able to manage most mechanical failures. Today is just revelation after revelation, huh? I can vouch for Limbus Company skills. I can also work on the simpler tasks. I've learned a thing or two helping out Gramps, stuff about the lighthouse or various tech stuff.
Well, then should we all head to the lighthouse together?
No, I'll be leaving the group for a moment. Amia will accompany you instead. What? After all that, you're just going off on your own? Yes, to join the Doctor. It is imperative for the successful execution of this mission. Of course, that hinges on Amia and Scotty remaining behind here to assist the rest of you. Thus, I will leave it to the rest of you to take the Eye of Iberia, the lighthouse, back. Wait, what do you mean take back the lighthouse? Is there someone or something out there that's taken over the lighthouse called the Eye of Iberia? A likely supposition. Amia, what did the manager of Limbus Company say? They're asking if the lighthouse would have been taken over by something. Not a bad intuition. Yes, there is a high likelihood that the structure has already been overrun by sea terrors. I don't know about overrun, but I've encountered them a few times when we approached it too closely. Normally this is hardly enough personnel to attempt a raid on the lighthouse, but answer me this. Are there any limitations to their revival? There are no restrictions as long as Dante the manager survives. However, do note that battle efficiency depreciates with prolonged battle due to mounting mental stress on the manager. No need to change the plan then. Amia. Use this communicator to alert me as soon as you are able to identify the coordinates of the vessel from the lighthouse. If luck would have it, we should be able to reduce the time it takes to complete the retrieval mission. Okay, as long as you're not taking everyone with you. If it's just her who's leaving, then go ahead. I think we should be fine too. Then let us commence mission Vessel Massa's retrieval.
Righto, step one of the plans for Raph, right? Let's get on with it.
It's done. Let's go.
What? Why are you looking at us like that? Is there something bothering you?
Must you ask? Just look at how proactive and quick she is to jump to action. Certainly lives up to the image of an employee working for a large corporation. Thanks, Otis, for that charitable view, I guess.
Thanks to Scotty, who had already finished the first step of the plan, we were able to move on to the step 2 immediately. Awesome, she built a raft for us. Fun.
How was she so quick, though?
That's pretty quick.
And the raft must fit like a bunch of people on it.
I don't know. Oh, yeah, more fighting. Operation Lighthouse, let's go. Garganta. After a while of carefully sailing on Scotty's raft along the coastal cliffs, a gargantuan shrouded lighthouse emerged from the thick mist.
Eye of Iberia.
Even in its dilapidated, ruined state, touches that are at once monumental and sensitive are apparent on the exterior construction of the lighthouse.
Some even called these lighthouses guardians of Iberia. It retains the grandeur of the era, as it was built during its golden age. You really know everything, don't you? It is as she said. But now these lighthouses are nothing but graveyards of countless inquisitors and soldiers of the penal battalion. No one who has attempted to retrieve a lighthouse has ever survived the expedition.
Can you please not say scary stuff like that, Miss Irene? We're literally about to walk into one.
Don't you ever quit chirping? What are you, a foul beast? Stop yapping in my ear. Why is this one such a coward, unlike the rest of you outsiders?
I'm not a coward, I'm just voicing my...
She did just say some pretty concerning stuff.
How long do you think that repairs will take? Its exterior is rather heavily damaged. However, from what is visible from the outside, its interior is still quite intact. With Miss Faust's expertise, it should not take very long.
He sounded suggestive with a smile, but Faust maintained her silence for the entire journey to the lighthouse, then said something pretty concerning in response. Of course, my wit remains unmarred even in such uncertainties. The currents are pretty wild. Someone's going to have to stay behind and keep an eye on a raft. We can't just leave it here unattended, but I don't know if we can carry it either. I'll stay here and protect the ship.
You sure you can handle it? You're sure you can handle this alone? I know you're strong, but maybe 1 or 2 more people should stay behind, just in case.
No, don't need them. Seafarers will swarm the islet if I go with you anyway. So, this has nothing to do with you. So what she's trying to say is that she's worried about you not having enough people to take on the lighthouse when she can handle this area alone, which is why she's okay with staying behind alone.
Thanks for explaining. Some people just can't help but hop through an extra hoop, I guess.
Well then, let's trust her. We'll be back, Scotty.
Luckily, we didn't run into seafarers on our way to the lighthouse gates. The problem was that the gates were bound shut by strange blue tissues. Reminds me of that L-Corp branch back at U-Corp, though that one was wide.
I don't think I can do anything to force it open myself, so... Guys, can you pry open this door?
Why, move over. I'll pull from the right side, you grab the left end.
We'll all pull together at 1, 2, 3. 1, 2,
3, huh? Something's off here.
What are you doing?
The door is firmly secured in place.
This flesh tissue regenerates almost as soon as it is torn. Perhaps you'll need to tap into a wilder form of art to get this opened. Well, what now? The strange flesh tissue growing on the gates is sea terror. It reacts to the lamp, but it's grown too much to be affected by it in any meaningful capacity. Scotty might be able to open this door with her incredible strength, but...
Should I go fetch her? But I think she's already fighting off the sea terrors from sinking the raft.
So we're all on our own. Maybe there's an identity card or ego I could use to get through this. Oh, which one? Huh? Just as I was pondering a familiar question, a faint black glow came into view, then devoured my sight. It's no intuition or inspiration. It's different from those sudden flashes of realization. And it's not the star of that day that I think of from time to time. It's not the horrible door that I see every time I turn the clock either. The formless and black space in which I am not permitted to see. A faint noise, a whisper, cuts through it. And through that opening I see light. I reach out to the opening and I see Scotty, born from a very, very warm gaze. Scotty? Powerful imagery crashes onto me like the waves. Scotty, the staggering dancer wielding a blade. Scotty, who flaunts her flowing locks. And Scotty, the singer, humming in a low voice. Beyond the fringes of cognition, Scotty's existence has become engraved. The sinner who can wrestle and control this oceanic tidal power is... Dante, are you alright? I'm good, and I don't think we'll need to send for Scotty. Huh? What? Hey Ishmael, I've never used this ego before, but I need you to trust me and accept it. What? An ego? I nod quietly. Well, it's not like we ever get to have a practice run with those egos, whatever it is. Seems to me our manager's found a solution. Her confusion is short-lived. She lets out a carefree laughter before stepping forward, boldly twirling her mace once. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? Get corroded? Yo, wait! She used the ego in the cutscene! That's cool!
반드시 밀려올 테니.
Господь милосердный, 183 крутки, 0 ивентовых эго. Ха-ха-ха. Ну, я их за 133 все выкрутил. Но сочувствую, очень сочувствую.
Cracks in the lighthouse are growing.
I think she's destroyed the door instead of opening it. Sorry, didn't think it'd be this strong. Well, the door's open. What are we waiting for? No, I mean, what was the part where you... What, the part where I suddenly changed into a different outfit and equipped a different personality? Yes, that! Ahem, that is...
This is most fascinating. That an ego could be drawn here in lieu of the mirror of Mephistopheles.
I think I connected to Amia's subconscious mind. There was this strange and familiar light, and I saw Amia's emotions attached to her memories and experiences, so I just reached out to them. My subconscious mind? I just had this feeling that it would work. Sorry about peering in without asking first. But I didn't see anything other than things about Scotty. All I needed were memories and emotions that can be used to understand the being that is Scotty. It's okay. I also have experience with gaining power from others' memories and emotions to overcome difficult situations. Maybe that's how you were able to draw something from me as well, Dante.
Удачи, однако же. Ну, так и так, ладно, заберу одно, или сколько там будет, когда хотя бы одно выбью. В целом, эго-кальцит такое себе. Но оно выглядит круто. Да вообще они, в принципе, все как бы ок. Там эго Грегора какое-то имбищенское, судя по тексту. Оно прям очень крутое. Ну, а так они, в принципе, просто все АОЕшные. В принципе, окей. Но опять же, я когда крутил, ни на что не надеялся, а просто типа покрутил, будь что будет. Ну, покрутил, получил. Я рад.
That is the most appropriate assumption, especially in a situation in which delving into its principles is impossible. So that's called ego? Verily, of course, Limbus Company's ego is quite distinguished from the other kind of ego, which are bloomed from within oneself. That is enough. No further information is to be divulged to outsiders. Yet it matters not whether young mayors and young Amia learn of this. I agree with that fool this time. The Inquisitor used an artillery projectile that penetrated the outer wall, several of them in fact, of a building, and the head did not pursue her following that breach of taboo. This is clearly not the city.
Все на основе Млинара обязано быть чем-то превосходным. А я вот как раз вот в Arknights-то и не играл особенно. Я тут не местный. Я не знаю, что там. Но надо попробовать как-нибудь, надо попробовать. Меня часто зазывают туда попробовать. Ain't it better to let her talk her heart out than to hear her moan and whine about not being able to say anything?
I'm convinced. Do as you will, then. Faust's reply sounded almost sulking, but Don Quixote immediately began to expound upon ego to Irene and Mayors anyway. But everyone was too busy to pay attention to her, as the wet, slithering noise from a distance had put everyone on edge. Can we do that later? We've got some cleaning up to do. So there were more sea terrors past the door. I think any sea terrors from the sea are all converging around Scotty, which means only our only roadblocks are sea terrors still lingering around the lighthouse. Let's go. Let's take this lighthouse back. Let's go!
Let's go, dudes. Hand of the Saint. А это что? Sinners on top of the Net of the Sea brand. Ah. Ah, okay. I have to hit this. When I have to hit this when something appears. Alright. Let's not worry about that yet. Я лично начал играть в арку примерно так же, как и в Limbus, притом там и там все началось с удачи. В Limbus ключевой хит прошлого сезона дал Юрёшу и Понтилист и Сан, а в арке просто 2 6-звездочные исходом. Там какая-то сложная система, где надо вылавливать айдишки постоянно. Ну, не айдишки, а персонажей. Ну ты понял. Ну, я попробую еще раз как-нибудь. Я вот себе как раз приобрел планшетик новый в поездку. Я же скоро в отпуск собираюсь на работе. Может, как раз будет повод попробовать Arknights. Хотя я знаю, что у них ПК-клиент есть. Ну, такой кривоватый, правда, через Google Play Games. Советую попробовать начать до 30 числа, там пока что баннер. Ну, там, наверное, вот это тоже коллаба. Я, кстати, так и не помню, а у них-то что-то с коллабой с Лимбусом выходит или нет? Было всем советую, так сказать. Но я обязательно попробую, спасибо. Пробую. Я там даже начинал когда-то, то есть у меня там аккаунт должен быть. Коллабы нет, эх. Вообще странно, типа, что это за коллаба такая, где только в Лимбусе коллаба с Arknights'ом, а у Arknights ничего нет. В чем коллаба? Типа, Arknights просто так от доброты душевной решил Лимбус пропушить? Не знаю. Или, наоборот, Лимбус решил пропушить Arknights по доброте душевной? Ну, такое. Арка в Китае с разницей в полгода с глобалом. А, точно, у них там разница. Мне как-то поясняли, да, что у них не получится так делать. Что у них там разница это. Но все равно, типа, а чё тогда... То есть я, допустим, понимаю, что Arknights с этой коллабы получают какой-то бенефит. Потому что в Лимбусе появится про их игру всякое. И люди пойдут из Лимбуса играть в Arknights. А вот Лимбус-то что получит с Arknights? Ничего получается, кроме того, что смотрите, какая у нас охрененная коллаба. Они бы хотя бы там плашку поставили, типа, ребята у нас... Они там хотя бы плашку поставили-то, типа, ребята у нас коллаба с Limbus Company. Обмен на аудитории. Так я и пытаюсь понять-то, а как происходит обмен, если в Арке ничего нет? Я же должен, получается, как бы зайти в игру в Арке, по идее, бы. Понять, что происходит какая-то коллаба. И посмотреть, и подумать, о, а что это за Limbus Company такой? Пойду посмотрю. Китайской магии. Понял. Понял, принял. Понял, принял. Не, ну, конечно, Limbus Company новая аудитория не нужна. Limbus Company так самая популярная игра в мире. Я все понимаю. По доброте душевной продвигают бедный несчастный Arknights. Limbus Strong. На глобале вообще ничего нет. Так а смысл тогда начинать у них, если там ничего нет? Если только на Китай как-то идти. What is this mechanic? Another C brand. Expands toward the centers with each passing turn. Ah. I guess I need to break this now. Bum, bum. Oh, you're struggling. Favored. Favorite. Okay, you can go kill that. First Night вроде по приближении там плюс-минус на одном уровне. Да мне, честно говоря, казалось, что Арк больше зарабатывает. Но я не знаю. Точно не знаю. Точно не знаю. Когда-то давно я проверял. Вроде бы когда-то давно они были еще не на одном уровне. Но может сейчас уже подравнялись. У Лимбуса просто за последние пару месяцев гига прирост случился. Там очень много игроков прирост. Если посмотреть на Steam, хотя бы даже Steam DB Limbus Company. Музыка крутая. Чему сам невероятно рад. Не, ну понятно, что чем бы дитя не тешилось, как бы. Если он сам рад, то как бы и я рад за него. Хотя бы тут обычная скади не бесполезна. Да ладно, ее тут так облизывают, как будто она имба имбовая. Она что, в арке бесполезная, что ли? Хотя, ну слушай, так-то если подумать, то 22 сентября... Это, подожди. Это пик. 25 сентября, это в четверг. То есть вчера у Limbus Company был пик игроков вообще за всю историю. All-time пик. 124 500... 124,5 тысячи одновременно играющих игроков в Стиме. В Стиме только. У них же еще мобильные есть клиенты у Лимбуса. Это имба имбовская. Так-то. Ну как Винин бесполезно по большей части. По рудах ходячая катастрофа. Ну, понятно. Короче. Кат-сцене крутая, а в игре не очень. Тебя понял. Пам-пам. Пам. Пам-пам. Хотя эго Шим и Шмы вроде сильные. Но, да, вроде сильные. И опять же, они вроде все неплохие. Но у меня наконец-то на Ишме появится сильное ауешное эго. У меня сейчас нет ничего на нее толком. У меня есть только Wingbeat из хороших на нее. This guy's eating my ass, bro. Kill his ass.
먹을 콱 물어버리자고.
목을 떨궈주마. 넌
Got him.
튀울 수도 없겠구나.
О, и она такая типа ползет. Это, короче, румба. Я понял. Mission accomplished.
또 한 줄 키를
Money. Вот зато когда у тебя все эти штуки есть, как много валюты дают.
세월이 지나면
Rough
홍어는
Tides.
이제야 알게 되겠지.
Bam, 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 bam. Bam, bam, bam. Okay. Same old once again. Тех же щей да погуще.
이 앞에 속기를 본다. 저 해충들을 도려내라. 묘야. 길을 열어라.
Oh, this thing barely took any damage, huh? This thing barely did any damage, to be fair, though, I guess. Boom. Не, Arknights точно надо будет вернуться. Я еще и Tower Defense давно не играл хороших.
고작 이 정도 탕후에 넌 푸름을 틔울 수도 없겠구나.
불쌍하게 울부짖는걸.
Поставлю на скачку, что ли? Качает. Все, мне продали окончательно мне этот ваш Arknights. Arknights. Install. Все. Нравится. Bam, 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 bam.
숨통 끊기. 이 거리는 충분해. 너한텐 조금 멀겠지만. 지금은 좋았어요.
Ай-яй-яй.
흑수묘 뜀박질 춤. 가치 없군. 죽어라.
Somebody got staggered, by the way. I don't know who that was.
떨궈주마.
Boom.
넌 푸름을 틔울 수도 없겠구나.
어머? 놀랐어? 헤어내리.
I should probably use some of the new ego for fun.
끝내지.
이제 깨우치시게.
그쪽 방향이 아닐 텐데.
퉁퉁투성이네.
Yeah, hit that. Hit the Roomba.
모조리 지워버리죠. 이제 깨우치시게.
Oh, these guys are dying, dude.
죽어. 그림자 속으로 가라.
1 HP, no.
도끼를 보낸다.
잠깐.
Oh, wow.
깔끔하게 물었군.
Roomba. Okay, Ishmael. Oh, I didn't equip her with the fucking ego. What? Oh wait, yeah, right. She doesn't have the ego. He has the ego, and I can't even equip it because it's Wrath. Okay. Nobody can use it on this. Oh well. I don't have any Wrath symbols on me. I don't want to use the Figritio on that either. It's okay.
자, 어느 쪽일지 잘 생각해보라고. 불쌍하게 울부짖는 거. 이건 예상 못했나 봐.
Boom.
좋았어요.
흑승.
Oh, I should have hit the Roomba.
넌 푸름을 틔울 수도 없겠구나. 끝내지.
가치 없고.
죽어.
I don't understand how this mechanic builds up. It says with each passing turn, but it doesn't always proc. I just know I have to punch the Roomba sometimes.
확 물어버리자고.
Punch the Roomba.
목을 떨궈주마.
Just like stagger it at least, dude. This is embarrassing.
못했나 봐.
There we go.
자, 어느 쪽일지 잘 생각해보라고. 그쪽 방향이 아닐 텐데.
Oh yeah, good crit. 1 HP enemy, good crit. Mission accomplished.
또 한 줄
Money.
핏물진 길일 뿐이지만
Already at 835, dude.
신하면
The
홍문의
Fabled
배제를
Knight.
하게 되겠지. 야음을 틈타.
There were more sea terrors than we expected near the lighthouse, but thanks to Irene's lamp, the light of which paralyzed their nervous systems, paired with the rather narrow passageways, we were able to handle them without much trouble. Also, as the control room was, unlike the interior wall, mostly undamaged, Faust shared the good news that the repairs most likely won't take very long.
Yisang was right. Fortunately, the inside is barely damaged.
How are you progressing, Miss Faust?
It is almost complete. We best prepare to leave. Then I'll radio the doctor. Let's... Ah!
A tremor shakes the building with a loud boom, and debris begins to fall from the ceiling. Can we get 5 big booms for this? The lighthouse precarious floor suddenly collapses from the shock.
Ah, the floor is giving way.
What's going on out there?
Something's rammed against the Eye of Iberia.
I see all shattering through the ocean surface, the sheer explosive force turning water into mist. And it is charging at us once again. As Yisang noted, I saw the shadow of a dark figure through the ruptured outer wall of the lighthouse, charging ferociously at the ruined structure. That figure looked a lot like one of those knights of the city's western region Don Quixote would talk at length about.
The lighthouse might crumble at this rate.
Then we have no choice. We have to stop whatever's out there. Faust, stay here. The rest of us will descend the lighthouse and...
The lighthouse is almost fully functional. It'll only take some finishing touches to have its light shine again. Which I can handle, so I'll stay behind.
Seems entirely unnecessary to leave the rest to you. I would much rather leave it to Faust, who is an expert.
I've read about that Seaborn before. The fables and legends say that he is the last knight. And if those stories have any grain of truth in them, you're going to need all hands on deck to even have a chance at stalling it. You better prepare for a few days of interrogations once I bring you into the Inquisition.
Your decision, Executive Manager.
All hands on deck. Leave the lighthouse to Mayors. We have to put a stop to that knight somehow. Waves crest high and violent behind the spear-wielding knight. We have to protect the already precarious lighthouse against the knight. The knight begins to charge at us, his steed splitting the very sea, and I instinctively know that this isn't going to be easy. Fight the boss before we get thrown into his dungeon. Yay. That never happened before. One day, wheat grains he planted did not sprout. One day, he stopped feeling the scent of life between his breaths. Thus, he rides against the currents, hunting after waves. He seeks the waves, reproaches them, and eventually brings about their destruction. Faint memories, having blinked through Amiev's fathoms, flash briefly before my eyes, and the seaborn knight wields his great lance against the surfaced sea terrors. He shudders as though with repulsiveness, but he does not stop. You obstruct progress and cover the lands. That is impermissible. This is the land. The knight and the sea terrors don't necessarily seem to be on the same side. Perhaps diplomacy may be a viable solution here. Okay. Try to talk. Get him. We are not the sea. We are not its waves. The knight's great lance falters with doubt. Waves are the only things that hold any meaning for him. The last knight gains offense level down. Hmm.
気持ちが悪くなっているみたいです。
Okay, well, for now it's all looking good. Let's just, you know, hit him.
저 해충들을 도려내라. 묘야. 길을 열어라.
He really hates taking damage, huh?
危険な選択だったはずです。トム君
The music, though. What's the snowflake? He's giving snowflakes. Okay, we all have snowflakes. Lose 1 speed for every cold. If this unit has 3 stacks after skill end, take gloom damage and 20 SP, then gain frozen. if this unit did not attack the last night, expires. Huh. So I don't want to hit him, actually? What? Nah, it doesn't matter, does it? Okay. If this unit did not attack, does counter count? I have no idea. What? Oh no, don't retreat. Ah, shit. Well, fuck. Well, fuck. Nope, I think counter also counts.
囚人の皆さんの状態に何か変化が。
Or maybe not. I don't have any frost anymore. No one's frozen. I don't know. Fucking go for it. He really does not do very much damage. Okay. Well, this looks really bad. Maybe we're just meant to stall for time? Because he has 8 protection. I don't know what to do. Get someone else. The last night. Low morale. Okay, I know what to do. Mission failed. I have a solution. We have the technology. The all reliable thinking team. What? Sorry, sneezed. Just do something like this. Okay, yes. Wild Hunter. Overcome. Bruh. Bruh.
リンバスカンパニーの皆さんと
Nerd.
一緒できて本当に嬉しいです
Okay, bro's sinking. That's all I know. Bro's really sinking. Pew 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 pew. Arcana Piercer.
囚人の皆さんの状態を確認
Okay, he did not gain any protection this turn. I mean, really? There you go. I'd rather do this. Higher chance. Sink into the depths of despair. All. Okay.
リンバスカンパニーの皆さんとご一緒できて本当に嬉しいです
Anthony Rashides. If this has again frozen. Okay, so I kind of have to like counter defend here and stuff. No attacking. Yikes. He hurts.
囚人に致命傷を確認至急対処お願いします
Nah, we're good. Maybe. Durarian. Okay, now we can go back into smacking mode. Smack mode, activate. Oh, okay, okay. Yisang decided to lose instead. Awesome. Faded faith.
내가 찾은 나만의 항해 방식.
Limbus Company. Limbus Company. Fucked. Bro got fucking staggered. Let's go. Damage. Okay, let's see what happens if I become frozen. Sinner's relentless assault upon the night begins to slow. Though we don't have anything in common with the night, cold, cold loneliness rides his bellow, insidious under the faint light. Are we waves or rocks in his eyes? The sea wets our hems, giving us no time to answer the question. Someone has to stand their ground next to the petrified sinners, or we have to charge. Stand the ground. Unlike the night, we're not alone, so we did not have to endure the chilling loneliness by ourselves. Just here to send some love. Hey, thank you. Love you. I'm frozen from all allies. The music, though. Hope you're having fun. Dude, he looks so cool, though. And the music swells. Unclashable. Is there a point in me activating this? Slay the ocean, slay the ocean. We're listening to the 40-year-old divorced woman playlist, eating sushi, playing board games, and chatting. Pretty fun. Glad you're having fun, honey. Enjoy. I mean, it's unclashable. He's just gonna, like, kill a bunch of people, no? You have to evade. What do you mean one-sided guard? This is definitely not one-sided. Okay, if you cannot evade, try to hit. If you can evade, try to evade. Okay, I think some people evaded it. Not sure who. Yi-sang definitely got fucked.
The knight rides upon the violently whinnying steed. Lance raised skyward. The knight races across the sea, splitting in its waves. Ruby away, banana. I'm having fun, yeah. There's not many people in the chat anymore because people went to sleep. I'm going to be going to sleep soon too. Stall him, please, even for a second. Irene directs her hand cannon toward the knight. Her aim and will undulates on the same frequency with the waves. We need but a moment to recover. Topple the waves, go for his legs, not his lance. Friends are saying hi. Say hi to them. We have to stop the knight's charge. Who can put a stop to the knight's charge? Heathcliff. The knight's fierce charge briefly wavers when Sir Heathcliff jumps in his path. The Inquisitor quickly capitalizes on this momentary opening. A blinding spark flies from a hand cannon, and the knight is thrown off his steed. Slay the Ocean skill becomes clashable. Get me after stream, see ya. Yeah, I will. See ya. Dense shadow pools under the lone knight. Susurrus of teeming flesh sliding against flesh can be heard from beneath. Art they gathered to defeat the knight? They must have first gathered there, believing him to be one of them, until they came to the realization that the knight is a traitor to the great will. The knight leaps off from the surface, but the sea rises violently in response to drag him back down. The waves crest high, gnawing upon the knight, crashing him back down to the water's surface. But he leaps once again, the cresting waves as his stepping stones. He belongs not to the sea. He stands tall against the great will, his head held high in eternal defiance. The unremittent knight rides across the watery mountains and charges at us. Okay. You do it. Sinner Ryoshu brings the knight's charge to a stop. Then the waves begin to crash in. Once, twice, thrice, but unlike a knight in the backstreets, the waves don't stop coming. He has always challenged the waves and is fated to do so for eternity. The waves will always shake the sea until the day of the knight's sinking. Struggle passive deactivated. Knight gains the knight's corpus. Struggle deactivated, and he gained... Knight's corpus or something? Is it a status? Fine. Okay, I don't know what it is, but he does this skill is not clashable. Beheading. Is that really what I want to clash this with? I don't want to clash it with Arcana Pierce. I still get fucking cold from this. I hate this mechanic. The cold mechanic. Beheading. Oh no, my fucking Heathcliff got frozen. Ah, and now she's gonna get frozen too. No. Fuck. Son of a bitch. I hate the fucking cold mechanic, dude. Is anyone still alive? Who even is this? The sword sharpened with tears. Yeah, she's frozen. Certain skill activations become nullified. Yeah, she's immobile. Can't do anything. Can't do nothing. Okay. You will go into that one. You'll snag harpoon it. The rest of y'all, good luck.
Maybe you can use Chains of Others. Chains of Others is actually solid here. And I don't know. Just hit him. Just fucking hit him, dude.
수많은 것들이 옥죄어 온다.
He got frozen though. I mean, honestly, I can kind of out attrition him, I feel. Yeah, I'm losing Sinners, but that's okay. He's gonna go down. It's fucking hard, dude. He's a fucking difficult fight, bro. I don't know how to beat him without losing anybody. Yeah, I'm running out of people, dude. I have to just, like, throw damage at him. What do you mean that was it? What do you mean that was 24 damage? No! Okay, well, I didn't have much hope for you. Fight face. Ow. He's got 14 health left. Come on, bro. Do I have, like, any... Yeah, there we go. Go get him. There we go. Finally. Mission accomplished. Okay, that was a hard fight. I'm out of rounds. The lamp's almost out, too. We're holding him back for now, but we won't last much longer. No BS, I can last. The lighthouse, not so much. What difference does that make? Sinners were reeling from the battle against this enemy who was more like a force of nature than human. Without giving us much time to breathe, the knight fixes the spear and begins charging at us again. It didn't take very long for the severity of the situation to dawn as I quickly began to rack my head with a desperate wish. What can I do? What can I do here? That's when, through the mist, the black space begins to envelop my vision once again. Wait, this is just like... And from the dark, light shines again. I reach out towards it and see, unlike in the earlier phenomenon, which focused entirely and powerfully on Skadi, a single individual. What I saw this time was an unfamiliar place called Kazimierz. This place was filled to the brim with things that Don Quixote would lose her mind over, like knights and their countless fans, an arena in which to test one's mettle. But the one in Amia's thoughts sits far from all of that glory in a very mundane-looking office. He wears a well-kept set of clothing, while his eyes are, with a slight squint, focused on reading the newspaper. The man looked more like an office worker than a knight, but the most radiant part of that scene was a banner hanging in the wall and a sword. Don Quixote was the first sinner who came to mind. Can she, our ardent admirer of knights and pursuer of glory, spin that energy from his sword as her own? Wait, no, he's different. I need someone who doesn't pursue glory, someone who can handle their own tarnished glory. The sinner who can detachedly wield the entirety of their bygone honor is... Yes, there's just one. I'll trust you, Gregor. Use this ego to hew into the knight's charge. Split the waves. Use the light to split the waves, huh? I hear you, Manager Bud. Let's do this. Boom! Another new ego. Let's go!
이 검은, 이 명예는, 이 영광은 빛바래지 않을 테니.
The incandescent golden blades of light surge forth, cleaving through the darkness of the sea. The knight withstands and parries each of those lights away, but he comes to a stop when the last of the golden radiance cuts across the sea and looks in our direction as if to admire it. And finally, the lighthouse makes a low, resonant creaking noise before firing a bright light toward the ocean horizon.
Mayors has completed the repairs. Oh, the light returned to this house once more.
Silence all. Mayors is saying something.
Like Otis said, Mayors were speaking out of the window and shouting something at us. Vessel Massas is still near the shore, somewhere in the coastal sea. It moored somewhere by the beach, somewhere quite a bit of distance away from the village coast. Confirmed. I'll radio Dr. Countset immediately.
That's all well and good, but what about that monster? Oh yeah, what if he charges the lighthouse again and destroys it?
I heard it talk during our battle, but I don't think that creature is capable of actually communicating with them. This will be your problem.
Don Quixote, wait, don't get too close to it, it's too dangerous. But before we could stop her, Don Quixote has already approached as close as she could to the Seaborn, her eyes twinkling. She takes a brief moment to admire the knight and his steed, before asking in an energetic tone.
O mighty knight, what is the name of thy noble steed?
Rocinante.
Wait, she can communicate with him? Oh, it is quite the coincidence then. My noble steed is also named Rocinante.
One who is not a comrade. They are a steed, you say?
Forsooth, a steed most fine indeed. It hath served me well over countless adventures of mine, despite its appearance. Yet I must inquire thee, noble knight. Wherefore dost thou strike this lighthouse so?
Eshamla. It was not the waves. The waves are darker, more raucous.
Perchance there was a tad inconvenient misunderstanding here then. Good night. I and my compatriots are now embarking upon an adventure most important. Yet with thy obstruction we are unable to do so. Prithee, wilt thou return to whence thou came? Don Quixote regarded the knight with a stance that was at once courteous and brave. And the knight and his steed Rocinante stared wordlessly back at Don Quixote. I wasn't sure if she managed to get through the night, or if the knight just lost interest, but they both departed the lighthouse, looking out to the far distance. So there really exist Seaborns who hope for something other than just survival. Such powerful Seaborns lurk at sea. Are you alright, Donkey?
You should be thankful that it somehow yielded a positive outcome. When are you going to fix that habit of rushing forward without thinking it through?
My apologies. While Don Quixote returned the knight with that bizarre conversation, Amia raised her voice happily as though she just received good news. What? Dr. Kaltzit, is that true? What's going on? The doctors managed to infiltrate the vessel masses. They're already done cleaning up the decks and are now waiting for the rest of us to arrive.
But it's been hardly 10 minutes since the lighthouse came on.
The doctor is an excellent strategist, and based on what Dr. Kaltzit told us, I think they already had some plans in motion before we activated the lighthouse. Great, let's return to Scotty and join them. We returned to the raft and explained what had transpired. Scotty listened to us quietly before replying in the same exact manner as she did before. Someone's going to have to stay behind. I'll stay. Go find the vessel Massas. You're going to refuse again if we offer help, aren't you? Yes.
Then I'll see you after we retrieve the vessel Massas. I'll let the doctor know what had happened here.
What an oddball. Ooh. Okay. Is the last one going to be a dungeon? I can't handle a dungeon right now. Nice. Big money. Oh, wait. Oh, this was just note 11? No, I'm gonna stop here. This is it. This is it, chat. I'm going to take the title elegy, though. Should watch the little video. Title elegy. Oh, it's a sinking. It's a sinking ego.
Nice. I need that then. You don't need those ego shards, Sinclair. Alright, I think that's it for the stream today, though. Thank you, everyone who came to visit and chat with me. I'll see you next one. Bye!